So I've not had the opportunity to quite get to this specimen of a human being, I suppose, or the individual of a human being, I guess, for lack of a better term, known as Think Before You Sleep. Now, if I could summarize Think Before You Sleep in so many words, basically think of like a 14-year-old in high school who just discovered Reddit for the first time. Yeah, generally speaking, this guy does, I think, philosophy videos from a right-leaning perspective, and to put it in so many words, I think it is generally speaking some of the most shallow dreck ever seen. But unfortunately, the demographic that this dude appeals to directly, that being right-wingers, are not very bright, not very intelligent, so they're going to like latch onto this and like, I don't know, try to hold on to it to dear life, like, yes, my epic super pseudo-intellectual 14-year-old wannabe who discovered Reddit for the first time. It does the, I don't know, like some form of like pseudo-intellectual dunkery-doos in terms of our based red-pilled philosophy for I don't know, like going after our opponents and yada yada yada. Okay. There are conservatives who have been philosophers, right, before, but the problem is that they're not actually like conservatives, not in like the current sense. There's a reason why a lot of conservative philosophers just don't exist, and most of them tend to be left-leaning, because conservatism nowadays is about reaffirmation of power structures, not fucking questioning that. Philosophy is inherently speaking a pursuit, a practice of engaging in critical thinking, doing like sort of deep dives into the human psyche and thinking about things, coming up with theories as to why certain constructs exist in the way that they do, why certain things exist in the manner that they do. Conservatives don't do that. They are not interested in self-reflection. Everything they do is for the express purpose of reaffirming places that people have within hierarchy. That's literally it. So people like Tectone, who are pretending to do like, I don't know, wannabe philosophical rants, I guess, for lack of a better term, and people like Think Before You Sleep, always come up short and have incredibly shallow critique and analysis of any of the subjects that they talk about, because in reality, people like this are just stupid. Yeah, I'm just gonna call them fucking stupid. Like, it's just like, wow, okay, you have some takes here that are probably like some of the most uninteresting dreck I have ever listened to in my fucking life. But Think Before You Sleep, as we all know, is now trying to sweep for Tectone rather. And I've seen some clips of this, and it made me want to take a look at it myself, because I thought it was really, really funny. And this shit's like 53 fucking minutes. Jesus Christ. Whatever. I've reacted to longer shit before and dunked on and criticized longer things before. But basically, I wanted to see, what does Think Before You Sleep, and a dude who probably doesn't like women, if I were to take a guess, because he's done a lot of the same like anti-feminist, anti-woke content before, because of course he has. Think Before You Sleep. What does he have to say about, I don't know, what dating an OnlyFans girl is like, and how does he sweep for Tectone specifically?
Tectone went to court today, and he lost the court case against
Mizkif.
Tectone, with his 5 lawyers, lost. She had 1, and she won. That's how bad it was. For the next 10 years, Tectone can't own guns and has to pay all of her attorney fees, which is hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Thanks, Mizkif. We can always trust you to report things accurately. In case you haven't heard, Twitch...
So far, but wait, but that's literally what happened, though. Yeah, there's a protective order. The transcripts are all there. Like, okay, man, I didn't think I'd have to be pausing like immediately. Are we just gonna deny reality? Think Before You Sleep? Yeah, that's literally what happened. Yeah, Tectone has to pay lawyers' fees. He can't own guns for the next 10 years because during that testimony, he literally said that he is a unmedicated, diagnosed schizophrenic who has hallucinations once a month. It makes a lot of sense why any judge within a court might be particularly apprehensive of the fact that someone like that has guns to begin with, saying like, maybe we need to take away this guy's guns because of the fact that he is an admitted, diagnosed, unmedicated schizophrenic. Like, I don't know, that seems to make a lot of sense. I don't know, I guess I'm a libtard for thinking like this.
Girlfriend of his, who goes by Pinkchyu, had been in a legal battle after Pinkchyu publicly accused Tectone of sexually assaulting her. Recently, Pinkchyu filed for a
which was confirmed at
to
this
prevent
point.
stalking and harassment, and Tectone lost a motion to get it dismissed. Now, before we get into all this, let me just say that I'm not even remotely neutral on whose side I'm on. I started out neutral. I started out with the mindset of, let's take a look at the facts of the case. Maybe there's some nuance here. Maybe both parties did something bad at certain points. Usually that's how relationships in particular work. But my mind changed when I began researching, and I think after you guys watching see the details, you'll come to the same conclusion that I did, which is that this is a massive failure of the justice system. Which is why this video is a defense of Tectone. It's about how, in my opinion, none of the assault allegations were true, and it's about how this whole situation was a coordinated effort from multiple streamers to...
Oh, so he's gonna make the claim that none of the assault allegations are true when Tectone himself, in testimony, because the transcripts are out there, by the way, to think before you sleep, he literally self-admitted that he would use Pinkchyu as, like, essentially an auto-blow machine. He admitted that. So, yeah, like... part of the reason for as to why the protective order was granted against him in favor of Pinkchyu?
To ruin his career. That being said, Tectone, or John, is a popular Twitch streamer who started out by playing gacha games.
I played
popular,
games
quote unquote.
so you don't have to. So it's Breath of the Wild, but worse, but with waifus. Also, be careful of shit-talking Paimon's English voice acting.
More recently, Tectone is known for calling out how entitled the least talented video game voice actors are, and for helping expose Hasan Piker as an animal abuser. And this is Pinkchyu.
Hey, officer, you ever...
Yeah, by the way, oh boy, Collargate, the only thing that these people are obsessed with. Tectone didn't really offer anything at all in terms of fucking Collargate whatsoever. He just jumped on a train because, self-admittedly, in that exact same testimony on court, he literally self-admitted to being a fucking grifter to be able to maintain his fucking audience, or at least to be able to garner a new audience, because he knew that he was basically completely cooked when it comes to all of the sexual assault allegations that are against him, right? Like, from Fream specifically, part of the reason why they even got an NDA to begin with, himself and Fream, is purely because Fream was about to come out with a Google document talking and alleging, not alleging, but basically... no, it would have been alleging, yes. That's the correct term. Alleging that that Tectone was also abusive against Freem, who was his ex-wife, right? Like, yeah, that's how this works.
Realize how hard it is to say rough 2 times in a row?
Rough?
Good boy.
Well, that was cringe. Anyway, Pinkchyu, who also goes by her middle name, is an OnlyFans creator who's achieved success after getting a very noticeable amount of plastic surgery, followed by a generous use of photo editing tools. I mean, this is an insane amount of catfishing. I'm not even looking at the same person when I compare a live stream to a photo of her, which brings us to November 20th, 2024.
Wait. What relevance does this have? Why the fuck does that matter? Okay, listen. Conservatives, think before you sleep. I thought we cared about people's ability to be able to make choices with their own bodies. I thought we cared about, like, pulling yourself up by bootstraps and all that. So what happened? We're immediately going to start, like, dunking on Pinkchyu for, what? Wanting to get a little bit of plastic surgery so she can be more, I guess, effective as a fucking sex worker or something? Like, this is... I feel like I'm starting to sense a bit of a theme going on here, and that this guy... Now, call me, listen, Woke2 is here, call me libtard, cringe, or woke, or whatever, I don't really give a shit. I think this guy might not like women all that much.
Where Pinkchyu goes on an alternate account to make a post accusing someone of forcing her into oral sex, and everyone immediately assumed that she was talking about Tectone.
If you can believe it, Tectone actually is a piece of shit. His ex-girlfriend, Pinkchyu, she's come out to speak about his sexual assault against her. How do you know that she's referring to Tectone? Because it's on LSF and they're not following each other anymore.
She's referring to this live stream fails post from an anonymous account announcing that Pinkchyu was referring to Tectone. I mean, there were also obvious context clues like saying they live together, and who posts something to a public forum if they believe that the audience isn't going to know who they're talking about? So let's be clear, everybody on the internet...
Okay, I mean... Sure, man. Like, I don't know. why are we having, like, some weird aggressive problem with that specifically? It seems a little strange to me.
Knew this was Tectone despite her not saying his name in the post. So obviously Tectone had to respond, and he did so at first by not specifically naming who he was talking about.
So if you're confused, you're going to stay confused.
Well, because since these are allegations, and Tectone was planning to take this to court, because that's what Tectone's initial plan was, basically going to dispute the claims against himself, right? You know, to make sense, because he felt like he did nothing wrong, even though in reality, yes, he actually did do quite a bit wrong, and he has a pattern of behavior of doing things wrong before, but I digress. With his, of course, ex-wife, Fream, that being in this particular case, he decided to take this to court because he felt like he was completely innocent, right? And that's why he did that.
Because this shit is not about content for me. Okay? I know the person who needs to hear this is going to hear this.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean this genuinely. I did everything for you. I helped you with everything. I fixed everything for you. I was there for you like nobody else was there for you in your whole life. Your words, not mine.
Now, he does sound pretty mad here, which is why people such as Denims interpreted this as a definite confirmation that he was an abuser.
Your words, not mine.
Oh my god, he even talks like an abuser. Holy shit. Thank you.
I don't think that's what Denims is saying there, exactly. No, like, the reason why Tectone... Okay, think before you sleep. I know that you don't actually care about, like, what manipulative language is and how people tend to be fucking manipulators, but here's the thing. The thing with someone like fucking Tectone, who is a known liar, who has been consistently pointed out as a liar, as per the Shamoo video. Shamoo does a fantastic breakdown into all of the initial lies about fucking Tectone from the beginning. But the reason why he's particularly aggressive about all of this is because he's trying to manipulate his audience, right? Into taking his side inherently. That's the point. So I guess, like, I don't know, think before you sleep is, self-admittedly, I guess, just, getting easily manipulated by fucking Tectone's, like, the anger or some shit here or something. Like, it seems, it's a little fucking strange. There's a reason why he's doing this, because during the claims here, and again, of Tectone doing his initial response, he was lying. That's the fucking problem. And he was trying to sound very angry and indignant to, again, prime his audience to want to start to attack Pinkchyu. That is why he did that.
Oh yeah, the problem is that he has an inflated ego and he's stupid, which is like a horrible combination to have.
Well, that was the projection.
That's true.
And though maybe that video out of context was a bad look for Tectone.
Okay, this is coming from the fucking dude who is, I don't know, a wannabe fucking 14-year-old who just discovered Reddit for the fucking first time, doing pretend fucking pseudo, like, the most pseudo-intellectual fucking forms of philosophical thought on the fucking planet. Like, okay, buddy.
Trust me, as we go over the court transcript, not Mizkif's transcript that his idiot friend wrote, I mean the actual court transcript. So when we go over the real transcript, you're going to...
You are aware that Mizkif also went over the court transcripts as well, Think Before You Sleep. Does this Think Before You Sleep know that Mizkif also went through the actual fucking court transcripts in a separate video? Do I need to stick that in the fucking description for Think Before You Sleep specifically? Maybe I will.
To understand why Tectone was a little angry there. In fact, I think he was quite polite. That transcript is infuriating, knowing that it was used to take someone's First and Second Amendment rights away for 10 years. Anyway, on November 27th...
But that's not the actual fucking court transcript, you dumbass motherfucker. It wasn't Mizkif's transcript that was based off of that. It was based off of an actual court transcript. That Mizkif and a couple of other people, like fucking Legal Mindset. Now, Legal Mindset illegally went over the court transcript. There's a reason why you can't find the VOD for that stream anymore, because he was given that document allegedly by fucking Tectone illegally, violating the fucking protective order. Allegedly. No way to 100% prove this for fucking certain. We can make some guesses based off of, again, stuff that Shamoo has said, where Tectone on a burner account, potentially in a burner account, and the reason why we can say it is a potential Tectone burner account is because it uses the same forms of language as Tectone, and as Mizkif has also said, has used Tectone emotes every time at the end of any of its sentences that the burner account was also saying as well, right? Which is sort of mimicking of Tectone's speech. Now, of course, these are allegations. It's not 100% concrete. We can sort of surmise and make some guesses here, right? That we can make assumptions that it was Tectone on a burner account who posted the fucking links to, again, sealed fucking documents. This was done in Texas, obviously, and the only people who have access to sealed documents are the lawyers, Pinkchyu, the police, and also Tectone. Now, why would the lawyers, Pinkchyu, or the police want to leak those in particular if they're, like, you know, upstanding professionals? And I don't know why would Pinkchyu want to fucking leak that shit when she got a victory in terms of the protective order? So that doesn't make any fucking sense, obviously. So more than likely, we can take a guess. It's like, oh, it might have been Tectone who fucking did that, right? He might have leaked that shit potentially to Legal Mindset. Of course, this is an allegation, right? I have no other way or any other idea as to how Legal Mindset even acquired the documents for that specifically. Let me quickly find the Shamoo sort of thread on this real quick. So here's the Shamoo thread. Let me help you out here. Think before you sleep. Okay, this is really easy actually. So here is the Shamoo thread. Good solid thread here by Shamoo, talking about Tectone potentially using a burner account to basically potentially violate the fucking protective order here, right? On a fucking burner account, because this is language and intonation that specifically Tectone himself has used before. And as Mizkif also followed up, based off of Shamoo's thread here, the only person who generally speaking uses Tectone emotes right after they end a fucking sentence is Tectone himself. Now, is that enough to basically say, oh, it was 100% Tectone, 1000% Tectone, literally did everything here, it was him who was leaking the shit? No, that's not enough evidence to say for certain. Because again, we know, like, Shamoo unironically got the fucking link to that, tried to follow the link, and was just like, oh, he might have fucking doxed his victims, right? This is illegal, obviously, can potentially lead to a third-degree felony for leaking a sealed fucking document. Again, since this was done in Texas, and the protective order was granted, those documents, at the request of Pinkchyu, were sealed, right? Which means no touchy. No one can look except for a very specific set of people. I believe the police can take a look at it for whatever related sort of investigations they need to do. The lawyers, Pinkchyu, and Tectone. Again, I say this again. Why would the police or the lawyers leak any of that stuff? Doesn't really make much sense to me. Seems kind of silly, ridiculous. Why would Pinkchyu herself leak this? She won the case. She doesn't really have anything to prove besides the fact that she won. So, because you can say like, yeah, I won. Of course, she can also say that people can go over the documents themselves, the court transcripts and stuff like that. She has the ability to give consent to people to publicly cover it, which is why Mizkif more than likely contacted her and gave her consent in order to be able to cover it, and a lot of the other like public transcripts. The court transcripts, I believe, are made public because they will very often redact sensitive information at the request of the individual that I believe Pinkchyu more than likely, requested for a lot of sensitive information like names to mostly be censored out, and they were censored out, right? Except for fucking Tectone's. I guess he didn't really give a shit. I mean, people already know his fucking name, so if he was censored, not censored, it's irrelevant, right? The thing with this, and why it is a potential possibility, because again, Tectone more than likely got some of his buddies to attack Pinkchyu. There's some people in the gacha community that were also attacking Pinkchyu and trying to defend Tectone. A little suspicious. Which can potentially violate the protective order. No concrete evidence for that specifically, but it's a potential thing that can be sort of explored, I guess, for lack of a better term. And we know, more than likely, with fucking Legal Mindset, he ran a fucking goddamn stream saying, oh, here's the court documents, I'm going over the court documents and shitting on Pinkchyu, yada yada yada. That's also illegal, because the only way that any of these motherfuckers might have gotten that redacted case file for the protective order is through fucking Tectone. That's the only way that he could have fucking gotten this. Which means there's a potential chance that he might have leaked non-public filings, which is not what that is incredibly fucking illegal. You can't fucking do that shit because, again, in Texas, it is such that for the purpose of protecting the information of the victim, they will redact that shit and keep it fucking sealed, right? They can release it with the permission of the stated parties, like I said before. Of course, Pinkchyu, the lawyers, and the police, if they need to use it for, like, continued investigations. Blah, 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 blah. I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent here, but here's the thing. Think before you sleep. You can't just immediately just come to like the conclusion that Tectone is really, really above board, and like I guess we're like focusing on fucking Collargate here, which is so fucking stupid. That Tectone is necessarily like really above board here in terms of his conduct with a lot of the court transcripts, or how he conducted himself, generally speaking, in court. Because what he might have done is potentially illegal. He may have just shot himself in the foot for like literally no reason, my man.
In 2024, 2 days after Pinkchyu makes her allegations, Tectone confirms on Twitter that Pinkchyu was talking about him. He says that she has 2 weeks to apologize and admit that her allegations were false, or he will sue her for what I imagine was defamation, citing that he will also pursue legal action against those who knowingly repeat her lies with reckless disregard for the truth. Tectone goes on to say,
well, that failed for him miserably.
He's ready to prove his innocence. And then Keemstar comments with some words of wisdom at the end, which brings us to Travis County in Texas on January.
What was that dumbass shit that Keemstar said?
Tectone goes on to say that he's willing to work with law enforcement and is ready to prove his innocence. And then Keemstar comments with some words.
I have no idea why you, all you streamers date these OnlyFans clown demons. Okay, whatever.
Words of wisdom at the end, which brings us to Travis County in Texas on January 23rd of 2026, and a hearing for a protective order filed by that's Pinkchyu against John Robertson, that's Tectone.
Okay, so, we're gonna have to fucking censor all that stuff, because, again, this is the reporter's record. Hearing on application for a protective order. Is this dumbass fucking unironically fucking leaking the protective order? Or is this what the reporters fucking wrote? I have no idea. Well, we're gonna have to do appropriate fucking censorship just in case, because again, does Think Before You Sleep again care about violating this sealed fucking document? No, because he's a fucking piece of shit and he just hates women.
And his
Tectone with his 5 lawyers.
Tectone and his 1 lawyer. That's 1 lawyer, Mizkif. I don't know why you would lie about something that was so easy to disprove.
I'm smart. I'm not going live and saying things that
Didn't Tectone say he had 5 lawyers in a clip before? Okay, whatever.
they're stupid. I'm not going live and being not strategic with my words.
Also, like, this has been a process that's been going on for several fucking years. How do you know that Tectone didn't have a bunch of extra lawyers in his retinue? You have no idea, but whatever.
My actions, I'm being smart.
Right. Mizkif sent a friend of his to go to court and take notes on the day of the hearing. Seems like the information wasn't very accurate. So Tectone's 1 lawyer is Joffrey Purrier, a guy with an enviable jawline, and Pinkchyu's lawyer is Michelle Locke, an aspiring self-help influencer.
Life is a journey. Life has ups and downs.
Very insightful words of wisdom. Last, the case is being heard.
Buddy, you've done the exact same fucking information before. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? What, is the problem is that she's a fucking woman or something? Like, yeah, what's, like, ostensibly wrong with advice like that? Yeah, like, life has its ups and downs. I mean, it's like, that's real and true. Like, dude, you would give the exact same, like, dumb fuck 3 IQ self-guru help to, like, the troglodytes that you call your fucking audience. Like, why are you shitting on her for that specifically? It's very, very fucking strange. Think before you sleep.
By Judge Dimple Malhotra. Just for clarification, this is a civil case. Conveniently, a lot of these types of allegations seem to be tried in civil courts, probably because the burden of proof there is much lower than in criminal courts.
I want you to understand something, Chad.
Okay.
The judge agreed.
Well, that's fine. Yeah. If all the parties fucking agreed to that, in order to do this in fucking civil court, because the parties would have to agree to do that, Tectone, and a judge would have to agree to fucking take the goddamn case, Think Before You Sleep, that's perfectly fine legally speaking. Whoa, crazy.
With that. Now, the judge was not empowered to put him in prison directly because that was not a criminal case. Had it been a criminal case and had he been given a bench trial, he would have gone to prison as a rapist right then.
God, these idiots are annoying. For those of you who don't know, Mike from PA is the guy who pretended to be a licensed attorney to run for the Pennsylvania legislature, but the state Supreme Court kicked him off the ballot after they found him misrepresenting himself. Now he's pretending to be an authority on the law on Twitch. Spoilers, most of the law influencers get shit wrong all the time, and they aren't really that trustworthy. Anyway, in reality...
Yeah, but you trust people like legal mindset. Okay, buddy.
There was a police investigation, but it didn't go anywhere, let alone prosecute. So Pinkchyu claimed that she would put a pause on pressing criminal charges because she was afraid of Tectone retaliating, which I don't believe because he publicly said he would cooperate with the police. And also, if Pinkchyu was...
Do I need to say why that's fucking retarded? Do we need to say why that's extremely fucking stupid? Tectone admitted in the fucking transcripts on court, unless he decided to commit perjury, that he was a diagnosed, unmedicated schizophrenic and he has guns, you stupid motherfucker. No wonder I think Pinkchyu might have felt like her life could have been at risk because he self-admitted that he was a diagnosed, unmedicated schizophrenic. Jesus Christ. What a fucking idiot, dude.
Actually afraid, she wouldn't have continued to attack Tectone legally. Personally, I think the only reason that a protective order was filed is because she wants to attack him, and there's no way in hell that she would have won a criminal case. Now, just so it's less confusing, and because there's no video of this...
Well, no, because... Okay. So, Think Before You Sleep is correct in saying that the burden of proof is much, much more higher in terms of the burden of proof, right? I believe she initially was working with the police, right? And there was an investigation that was going on there, but as very often has been told with the history of fucking police, very often they'll let rape kits expire, and very often they do not rule in favor of the, specifically, the victim, right? This happens very, 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 very fucking often. And yes, this is a good point, Alex, that you're saying. People think the insanity defense is going to get them off all charges, and it doesn't. Shit like that happens. Yeah, like, it's not my fault. I'm a schizophrenic. I'm okay. Restraining order approved. Exactly. That's a very, very good point there, Alex. Like, the fact that he tried to claim that he's an unmedicated, diagnosed schizophrenic who was not taking his medicine for years, and he hallucinates once a month, and he thought he was going to get away with that, is genuinely fucking insane. But again, Think Before You Sleep is an idiot, so whatever. The reason for as to why, more than likely, she didn't go ahead with the criminal charges at that point is because that was already being investigated. The reason why this, I guess, kind of for lack of a better term, was dormant for a little while was because there was a preceding police investigation. Like, we knew about this. Like, Tectone himself said there was a current police investigation going on. He complained about it in the Shamoo video. I'll probably stick that in the description, because it goes over in very good detail about all of Tectone's lies during this whole situation, which Think Before You Sleep is seemingly okay with. Shouldn't be really surprised, of course. But basically, there was a police investigation going on, and more than likely, because it happened throughout a very long period of time, very often the police will let rape kits expire. More than likely, that did not rule out in favor of Pinkchyu. So guess what? Criminally speaking, can't pursue Tectone as a rapist. That's fine, whatever. Still other legal avenues, because Pinkchyu still probably felt like her life was in danger and that she wanted to have some form of fucking protection. So she went ahead with, probably from the advice of her fucking goddamn lawyer, saying, okay, well, we can't criminally fucking get him for being a rapist, but here's what we can do instead. We can go for a protective order if you still feel like your life might be in danger. Because again, we now know that he is an unmedicated, diagnosed fucking schizophrenic who has guns. And he said that on as a part of his testimony on court Think Before You Sleep. It makes sense that Pinkchyu may feel like her life could be in potential danger. And given the fact that Tectone is not exactly a bright individual, it makes a lot of sense why she may feel like there may be some potential problems in terms of how Tectone may conduct himself. Because very often, and there's been a bunch of dramas associated with Tectone, he will just attack and go after streamers and other fucking content creators using his much larger fucking platform. He will very often use it as a fucking weapon. So it makes sense why she feels like, there may be some problems here if I don't try to protect myself from this fucking psychotic weirdo who is totally okay with using his audience as a weapon.
Hearing. As we go over the transcript, I'll put pictures on the side of who is talking. With that being said, Pinkchyu's lawyer starts her opening statement by blaming Pinkchyu's lack of evidence to corroborate her story on the fact that she's autistic. Pinkchyu's primary argument here is that, as a person who was nearly 30 at the time, she didn't realize that she was being abused until someone else told her, because she's very slightly autistic. What, did they take that argument from TikTok? So anyway, you know, if there's like...
Think Before You Sleep. I know that you're probably like an undiagnosed autistic yourself or something, but yeah, that's generally speaking how that fucking works. If you are autistic, you're not going to be able to pick up on fucking social cues as well. That's how that works, you fucking moron. Jesus Christ, dude.
It's like a mountain of evidence showing that this was all consensual. Well, just ignore that because Pinkchyu changed her mind after the breakup and after Tectone got into a relationship with a different woman. What a convenient set of circumstances. That being said, let's go to the first allegation.
Well, no. Consent was already revoked when she said before that she was not interested before in, I guess for lack of a better term, like, appealing to Tectone's fucking urges. Which means consent was revoked before then, and this is before they fucking broke up. He's getting his timeline of events wrong here.
Of assault. Pinkchyu said that she had recently gotten breast implants, so this is a plastic surgery related allegation. Now, I'm going to redact some of this information to make it YouTube safe, but the page numbers are all there, so you can just look it up for yourself. Basically, the allegation was that Pinkchyu could not perform because of her recent surgery, so Tectone found other non-consensual means, allegedly.
Much love to this queen. I mean, seriously, I'm sorry that you had to go through all of that, and then probably get traumatized altogether one more time in the court process, but at least now you have a moment of respite.
To further elaborate on the context here, Pinkchyu testified.
What the fuck was the point of that exactly? Like, what? Why did you bring that up? What was the... Like, what, did you need to fucking bring out some jingling keys, you fucking moron, in order to be like, hey guys, you know that Hasan is bad, right, Hasan? He's really bad, guys? We all hate Hasan. We hate Hasanabi, stupid fucking sexy Hasan. We hate him so much. I hate Hasan. I'm jealous of Hasan. What was the point of bringing in that fucking clip? Okay. Nice theme.
That she had been living with Tectone in exchange for sexual favors. Personally, I don't believe this version of the story at all. After reading through the transcript, it is very...
Wait, fucking... Okay. I mean, there are some holes that you can fucking poke in the fucking argument, but Tectone himself has said on stream and in the fucking testimony that that was literally the deal that they had. Like, what are you fucking talking about? Okay, wait. LOL flat out admitting she lied during her testimony with her lawyer. In my opinion, she was clearly trying to misrepresent their cohabitation as purely a business transaction. No, Tectone was trying to misrepresent that as a business transaction when he was lying about the fact that Pinkchyu was paying rent, when in reality he was using that money that Pinkchyu was making in order to be able to buy viewbots for himself. And he was trying to debunk all of Pinkchyu's claim by saying, look, Pinkchyu, she pays rent, and is trying to use that to manipulate his fucking audience, because his audience is not willing to look into any of the fucking words or any of the claims that he was making. Like, that's the fucking problem, dude.
Clear to me that they were living together because they were in a relationship. For reference, Pinkchyu and Tectone's relationship started in December of 2022, and they broke up around June or July of 2024. About a month later, in July or August, Tectone meets his now fiancée, Sophia, and a few months later, in November, Pinkchyu accuses Tectone of sexual assault. Which brings us to the second allegation. Again, pictures are here to indicate who is in the conversation.
I mean, like, okay... Just, okay, because very often a lot of these, like, misogynist types will do, like, the timing here seems a little sussy, guys. It's a little weird that this timing has happened this way. The timing argument here is completely fucking irrelevant, right? Like, eventually, because she herself has said she's autistic, she may not be able to pick up on fucking certain social cues or the ability to pick up as well the fact that she may have been getting fucking abused at that particular point in time, right? Because of the inability of being able to pick up on fucking social cues as well as neuro fucking typicals. She might not have recognized that what was happening to her is an inherently coercive dynamic, and that it is, sexual fucking assault that Tectone was basically doing, right? Now, we can do the whole meme about, like, power dynamics and all this stuff, and that's a whole fucking other sort of, like, can of worms. We don't have 100% much of the time to necessarily get into all of that. This video is probably going to be long enough as is. But generally speaking, if you are autistic, you may have some problems depending on the form of autism, because, you know, it's all a fucking spectrum. There's a reason why it's called autism spectrum disorder. Depending on the fucking autism, right? She may have harder times being able to pick up on certain fucking cues and manipulative language. Tectone is a fucking manipulator. Tectone is a liar. He has manipulated and lied consistently before. Shamoo's video does a great job going into a lot of the allegations and, I suppose, for lack of a better term, problems with fucking Tectone. But again, someone like Think Before You Sleep could give less of a flying fuck about any of that stuff, because bro just hates women.
If you see a Q, though, that means a lawyer is talking, and if you see an A, that's going to be either Tectone or Pinkchyu talking. Anyway, Pinkchyu said that she had just gotten lip filler, and Tectone had forced her into oral sex, which had ruined the lip filler. Geez, another plastic surgery-related incident? Do all of her allegations have some sort of plastic surgery involved? Now, is there any...
Why the fuck does that matter? Like, yeah, the lip filler more than likely could have caused complications, and then she has to go get the fucking lip filler again, dude. That's... She has to pay money to do that shit? Like, that's how that fucking works? Think Before You Sleep? Like duh? Okay, dude.
corroborating evidence that this happened? Not really. There may have been a doctor's appointment where she had to get the lip filler fixed. However, that doesn't prove anything because she could have just as easily screwed up the filler through regular consensual activity or something else entirely. But these...
How do you know that? I mean, that's entirely possible. Yeah, sure, maybe. But how do you know that? How do you know that? Right? Because again, think before you sleep is the type of dude who probably barely understands how consent works. That's something that can be revoked at any fucking point in time. And if you feel uncomfortable in a particular sort of relationship or in a position, sexually speaking, you can just say like, oh, I'm revoking fucking consent right there, then and there, right? You can do that. That's how that fucking works, right? Now, can this be used in rather fucking dubious ways? Yeah, sure, absolutely. I don't disagree with that, right? It can be fucking used in rather, like, ridiculous fucking ways. The question is you have to prove that, was it kind of, like, dubious when she revoked consent here in this particular instance? You know, just like think before you sleep, I will admit, I'm also fucking particularly biased. I would say fucking yes. The fact that she probably was not particularly happy, recognizing the sort of, like, coercive situation that she was finding herself under, and she was just like, you know, I'm not a particularly big fan of the fact that I basically have to serve as an auto blow machine, and I'm expected to not, I don't know, like, I have to, like, follow all the strange restrictions and rules from this, like, very obviously insecure fucking dipshit in fucking Tectone. I'm not a particularly big fan of that. I'm going to revoke our fucking goddamn sort of deal, and I'm going to try to get the fuck out before I get abused even further. That's generally speaking how this shit works, but for people like Think Before You Sleep, he's actually okay with rape, so he's just going to be like, you know, suck it up, bitch. You gave the consent initially. If you didn't like the fucking deal, you should have just, like, sucked it up, buttercup. It's like, that's not how that works, man. Like, she probably had her own circumstances for wanting to take the deal from the beginning or whatever. That's her fucking prerogative, right? Like, whatever. Who gives a shit about any of that? It's not as simple as just being like, clearly, if you hated the situation so much, why do you fucking even decide to go with it from the beginning? It's like, I don't fucking know, man. Like, they were already in a relationship and they decided to fucking live together. Like, okay, bro. Like, there's, like, so many fucking ways to sort of just say, like, why Think Before You Sleep is just, like, a stupid asshole here. And it's purely just born out of the fact that he's kind of a misogynistic piece of shit.
These are pretty much the allegations of assault. Now, when I say that Pinkchyu had no evidence of this stuff occurring, understand that her own testimony counts as evidence from a legal standpoint. So allow me to clarify what I mean. I'm saying she had no additional evidence to verify the truth of her story. And let me point out just how ridiculous this is. Tectone is a guy who is constantly on camera.
There's like a good, 8 to 10 people.
Wait, but Tectone kept constantly talking about this over and over and over again to try to obfuscate for his fucking audience. Again, like, Shamoo video withstanding, right? He would very, very often say things in order to try to make Pinkchyu look as bad as possible in front of his audience for the express purpose of basically trying to bury the lead on the entirety of the story and basically just be like, you know, my ex is a piece of shit and she's insane, so therefore don't look into any of the stuff because I'm clearly obviously lying here. But dumbasses like Think Before You Sleep, I guess just buy that shit fucking hook, line, and sinker because, again, bro just fucking hates women. Like, that's literally all there is to it. Sometimes it's very, very simple to be like, oh, Occam's razor, this dumbass just does not like women all that much. Like, doy, because he's done this shit before in the past with his ex-wife, Fream, where he's constantly fucking lied about stuff that she has said in the past. Like, this is a pattern of behavior specifically from fucking Tectone.
Already said, he didn't do it. We know he didn't do it. We were there when they said it happened. That never happened. They say there's a third girl. They don't exist. They don't realize that the entirety of, well, a large portion of my house is fucking filmed on the inside of security cameras on the inside. That's how fucking paranoid I am.
This is a guy who streams for...
He's lying about that, by the way. The third girl is Sophia, I believe, in that particular case, from the initial allegations. And I believe that's when he was talking about him using Pinkchyu as basically a proxy to attack Fream, even after the, not the allegations, but the NDA was signed when Fream was about to come out with allegations in a Google document against fucking Tectone.
For multiple hours a day, plus the couple of streams that he did with Pinkchyu. You're going to tell me that you have no footage, no audio recordings, and no text that make him look abusive or make him look like a stalker? You also have no...
That's not going to be on fucking stream, you dumbass. Hello? Plus we know that fucking Pinkchyu... this was what was claimed in the court transcripts, that Jesus Christ, it's fucking stupid already. That Tectone allegedly, of course, filmed her doing sexually explicit stuff before. We know that this is a thing that's happened, right? So the videos are out there. More than likely, they're not going to be seeing the light of day because of all of the documentation and everything being fucking sealed because of the granting of the protective order and Pinkchyu not wanting her fucking name out there, not wanting her fucking docs to be out there specifically, but whatever. Does this dumbass think before you sleep care about that? No. None whatsoever. He could give less of a flying fuck about any of this stuff. But yeah, that's kind of the problem. Think before you sleep. More than likely, we're not going to get the videos of all the, I don't know, I guess, porn, for lack of a better term, that was filmed between those two, and any of that evidence that you are apparently fucking coveting so hard. Because guess what? All that shit, more than likely, has been fucking sealed away. So we're probably never going to know. So you bring up, like, why don't you have any fucking evidence for this at all, Pinkchyu, is irrelevant.
No testimony from other witnesses saying that Tectone was abusing you? This is despite the fact that there were 2 roommates living with them the entire time. So either Tectone is this master manipulator who can...
Okay, then, like, they probably didn't... It was probably done in private or something. Like, hello? What? Okay, dude. How do you even know the fucking roommates were even there when it happened? That would have been said. The roommates were there. Okay, dude.
Can get away with all of this without a trace, which is a weird thing to argue because his opposition is constantly calling him stupid.
When he's literally I don't know how anyone fucking ever listens to this guy.
He's dumb as...
Well, I mean, let's be honest here. Like, he is a manipulator. He is a liar. That's definitely... A lot of fucking manipulators tend to be some of the dumbest motherfuckers on the planet, think before you sleep. I think that you're trying to do manipulations right now, and I think you're a stupid motherfucker. But I think you're a stupid motherfucker because of the slop dreck propaganda that you put out. That's why I think you're stupid. Not because of, like, as, like, a measurement of intelligence. I think you're fucking stupid because you're, like, a miserable piece of shit that's trying to sweep for Tectone right now. When it's been made fairly obvious and fairly fucking clear that more than likely, he probably fucking did that shit.
I honestly think he needs to be arrested just so he can experience what that is like, so he shuts the fuck up and goes away.
I genuinely don't understand how someone could be so fucking stupid to think that this is a good response.
So either he is this master manipulator...
Yeah, because his responses were really bad to everything, think before you sleep. But he doesn't care about any of this because he's okay with women getting raped.
Manipulator who can fool anyone, or none of this shit happened, in my opinion. On that note...
I mean, he consistently has lied on stream to his fucking audience of incredibly gullible fucking morons. And you're doing the exact same thing. Conservatives would not be able to garner any fucking audience if there wasn't a bunch of very low IQ, very fucking stupid morons that they couldn't just, well, lie to.
Pinkchyu's lawyer has finished questioning her client, so let's go to cross-examination from Tectone's lawyer, Joffrey. Before we get into this, though, it requires some backstory. For those of you who didn't know, Tectone was previously married for like 10 years to a woman whose name... They divorced a while back. Now, to me...
Dude, what the fuck is with this guy just fucking doxing all these fucking women? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like... Her name is fucking Fream. You seem to have, like, I don't know, this inner desire of just wanting to dox every fucking woman that you come across. Like, do you think that they really want those names put out there? We all know why, by the way. Think Before You Sleep is doing this specifically. It's because he wants to prime his audience into inherently hating these women and to go ahead and just attack them with their fucking dogs. That's why. Because he's a piece of shit.
Details here are kind of murky because an NDA was signed, and I only really have the court transcript to piece together what was going on. But remember how I said that Tectone has cameras everywhere? Well, it turns out that his ex-wife still had remote access to the cameras after the divorce, and allegedly, she was using some intimate footage between Tectone and Pinkchyu to blackmail them. And how this didn't land his ex-wife in jail is beyond me. Anyway.
No, okay, so Think Before You Sleep is explicitly lying here. So when the NDA was signed between, or when this whole, like, bullshit saga with Fream specifically was going on, Pinkchyu was essentially used as a proxy by Tectone to file a lawsuit against Fream, alleging that she was filming revenge porn of, well, Tectone and Pinkchyu through the fucking security cameras at his fucking house, right? Because she still had access to them. So, what the lawsuit alleged, and this was all basically created by Tectone, because again, Pinkchyu probably didn't know 100% of the details of what happened between Fream and fucking Tectone to lead to that, because they just got in a relationship together, and the only person that she would have heard this from was Tectone, who has reason to lie about this stuff. Think Before You Sleep. Do you understand how basic, like, logical reasoning works? Think Before You Sleep is actually pretty fucking easy, but you're too stupid to do any of that stuff because you're just a miserable, ostensible little freak, but I digress. Pinkchyu was essentially doing a stream going over the lawsuit that she had against Fream. Tectone raided into that stream to basically get more eyeballs on his fucking side to talk about, the allegations that Pinkchyu was putting out against Fream. Tectone was partially doing this as kind of a way to get around the NDA that he had signed with his fucking ex-wife. That's why he was using Pinkchyu as basically a proxy to try to attack Fream, who was going to come out with allegations against Tectone about the alleged sexual mispropriety that he also had with his ex-wife. Does this make sense to you? Think Before You Sleep. I know this is like maybe like a very, very difficult concept for you to understand, but Tectone was doing this because he was trying to manipulate his new fucking girlfriend into being inherently against, his ex-wife, who would have come out with sexual assault allegations against him.
Anyway, a lawsuit was filed, and a part of this lawsuit included Pinkchyu suing Tectone's ex-wife because she called her Tectone's sex slave. Let me repeat this. Pinkchyu sued his ex-wife because she accused her of being victimized by Tectone. Pinkchyu said it was defamatory to call her an abuse victim. Not only that, but this lawsuit occurs 1 month after her alleged incidents of abuse, and she says these claims about her from Tectone's ex-wife were disgusting lies. What a weird thing to say, right? So that's our first counter to Pinkchyu's story, and just right there, throw the cake.
So there, that is a potential hole in the argument. Sure, an actual good, and you're just gonna say just throw the fucking case out just based off of that alone? That's not how that fucking works. Think Before You Sleep. We're not we're not going ahead with all the not unmedicated diagnosed schizophrenic stuff that Tectone was fucking saying that he was alleging that he was doing. Okay, dude, nice fucking goddamn meme, and that he's used his audience before as a bludgeon against people before. Fucking incredible from this stupid motherfucker.
Case out. You mean to tell me that someone called her an abuse victim and she spent money suing them to say, no, I'm not? The second part of this is that Pinkchyu went to a mental hospital in July of 20...
I don't know how many times this has to be said. Again, the whole predication of that, and once Fream worked it out with Pinkchyu, after Fream filled Pinkchyu in on exactly what fucking Tectone did, that whole fucking case was dropped, you dumbass, because, again, Shamoo video withstanding... That was all essentially a lie and a manipulation done by fucking Tectone to use Pinkchyu as a proxy to go after Fream.
2024, around 1 to 2 months after the alleged victimizations. When she's being questioned by her lawyer, she states that she went to the hospital because she just had to get out of the house. And if your first thought was, that makes no sense, then I would agree with you. This sounds like a lie. Now, I'm not a fan of alienation, but I do...
That's how that works sometimes. That's how... Sometimes you just have to... You feel like you need to get out of the house because you're in a particular abusive situation. You can't necessarily describe it all that well. Yeah. That's fine. Okay. What? You don't even know that if she did, or if she was, suffering from some form of fucking PTSD because of all the stuff that she was going through. And are you saying that you don't like this individual because they're a woman? Think Before You Sleep?
I do think she has a very insightful video on mental hospitals. People don't go to mental hospitals just because they wanted to get out of the house. They go because they're either a danger to others or they're afraid of harming themselves.
Facilities like this save lives.
Yeah, and that's probably... She probably didn't want to go into the reasonings for as to why she went to the fucking mental hospital, you dumbass. Okay, dude.
Every day. There are 2 types of admission. The first is voluntary, which is where you go to the emergency room and say, hi, I don't feel safe. Can you please help me? And the second is involuntary, which is where your doctor or psychiatrist feels you're at grave risk to yourself or others. So they write you a note and send you
the Baker Act, for example.
So it's a weird downplay from Pinkchyu to say that she just needed to get out of the house. If she wanted to do that.
Why does this fucking matter, dude? Maybe she just didn't want to say the reason why she voluntarily went to the fucking mental hospital. You don't fucking know that. But you're just gonna say this to be like, look at this fucking lascivious whore claiming insanity because she's a lascivious whore who just wants to go after my best buddy, Tectone. I love Tectone so much. Let me do sweeping for him for literally no reason. It's okay, dude, nice meme.
That she could have just checked herself into a hotel or something. Note that Pinkchyu has more than enough money to do this. Also note that this admission into a mental hospital seems to have happened directly after Tectone broke up with her, so I'm guessing that the breakup caused thoughts of self-harm. Actually, it looks like the redactions here suggest something a little bit worse than self-harm. So honestly, I think checking herself into the mental hospital...
How the fuck do you know that?
was a psychologically healthy thing to do. However, the issue with this hospital visit is that it works as evidence against her story of abuse. Let me start by saying that when she's being questioned by her lawyer, Pinkchyu said that after she got...
Wait, how the fuck does that... How does that work against her exactly, right? If you feel like you are going to be a harm to yourself because of mental trauma that you went through because of a relationship that was allegedly abusive. Alright, you know what? I'm dropping the fucking alleged. I don't give a shit. Like, the protective order's already out there. You can cope and seethe about it. Fucking dipshit think before you sleep cells. Was probably abusive because, again, Tectone has a history of abuse that we know of. More than likely, she may have been dealing with the trauma of that specifically and went to the fucking mental hospital in order to try to deal with that. That's how that works, think before you sleep. But, you know, dipshit who fucking hates women is just going to be like, look at the lascivious whore saying that she was in danger and all this stuff. Nyeh.
Got back from Austin Oaks, the mental hospital, she moved in with her mom, but as she was getting her stuff from Tectone's house, she told a roommate of his about how afraid she was of Tectone. Now, anytime you go to the hospital or see a doctor, they're going to ask you, why are you here? Surely if Tectone was so abusive that she just had to get out of the house, and she had to tell his roommate how afraid she was, she would have also told the doctors, well, you see, I have this really abusive ex-boyfriend. But she didn't do that. In fact, the doctors specifically asked her if she had been a victim of abuse. Pinkchyu says yes, but she doesn't mention Tectone. She mentions a prior non-Tectone relationship, and that's it. Keep in mind that the time period...
How do you know that maybe she didn't want to mention Tectone explicitly, right? Like, think about it for literally 3 seconds. Maybe she just didn't want to mention Tectone explicitly because she was afraid of, like, I don't know, maybe like the medical, or it could be bad memory. It could be like the medical file getting leaked or something. Or because we know that Tectone was also fucking stalking her specifically. So maybe she was trying to be as discreet as possible in her mind, so then Tectone wouldn't try to fucking abuse her even further because he's also a fucking stalker.
Where she's alleging the abuse happened was 1 or 2 months before she goes to the mental hospital in July. Also keep in mind that Pinkchyu testified that she told Tectone's roommate 3 or so days after this questioning from the mental hospital, or around the same time, that she was afraid of Tectone, noting that his roommate did not come in to testify on her behalf. She can't even get that corroborated, so I don't see how this can be considered as anything other than crucial evidence.
How the fuck do you know that... Okay, maybe the roommate didn't want to fucking come in and testify because he didn't want to deal with this bullshit. You don't fucking know. Like, here's the thing. With this specifically, this motherfucker is doing. He's just, like, saying, like, obviously everything has to be the fault of the goddamn OnlyFans whore because they're an OnlyFans whore. And therefore, because they are an OnlyFans whore, they are bad. They're just bad. Period. End of story. Right? Because that's the sort of, like, I don't know, like, mental acuity that this dumbass is operating off of, when that's just not how that fucking works. How do you know that the former roommate did not want to testify in this whatsoever? Maybe was asked to fucking testify, didn't want to go ahead with that fucking testifying, or with testifying, right? You don't know that. Nobody fucking knows, but you have to assume that Pinkchyu automatically has to be bad because she's an OnlyFans whore. Because she's an OnlyFans whore. She's got to be obviously a fucking clout demon because, again, OnlyFans whore. Why would she do this? Like, again, these are technical holes that you can poke, but there are explanations for this.
That Pinkchyu was making all of these allegations up. Now, her argument for why she didn't report to the mental hospital that she had been assaulted by Tectone is because she just didn't see it that way at the time. But again, immediately after she gets out of the hospital to collect her stuff, she tells Tectone's roommate about how scared she is. Conveniently, this change of story happens in a place where it couldn't be documented as evidence. Because, you know, if you were an abuse victim...
I don't know how many times this has to be fucking said because... Okay, if she were to go back and run into Tectone while she's getting her fucking stuff, she doesn't know exactly how Tectone is gonna fucking behave, you dumbass. Like, duh? I feel like this is extremely, like, doy, but this dumbass can't fucking get it.
Who is fleeing your house because you're afraid of your ex-boyfriend, certainly you would want to tell medical staff later so it could be used as evidence in a police investigation. This is why I don't believe anything that...
Well, that's because she didn't even know if she was gonna go ahead with a fucking police investigation to begin with. Initially, she sat on this. This was also gone over in Mizkif's video. She sat on this for about 6 months, questioning on if, because this is a thing that happens very, very often with abuse victims. They sit there questioning on if they actually want to be able to go through with a police report because it's dangerous. It becomes a lot more fucking public. The abuser can use that as something against them if they try to go more public with the fucking allegations. Because they would be obviously made allegations if there's a fucking police report about this. And they could be afraid of any form of potential retaliation that can happen as a result. in the sort of the interim time between the police investigation and any of the potential fucking court dates. Like, that's how that works, think before you sleep.
Pinkchyu says. There are tons of holes in her story and really nothing to defend her outside of taking her word for it. But that's not all. Before Pinkchyu goes to the mental hospital, there are text messages between her and Tectone, where Tectone or John says, "Text me when you're on your way, and please be safe." And then she tells him what hospital she's going to be at. He also says, "If you need me, just text me. I'm sorry you're going through this." So when I read stuff like that, I think, wow, there was so much documented evidence of Tectone being supportive, but when it comes to him being abusive, you just have to take people's word for it. Isn't that odd? This is like no case of abuse that I've...
That's how fucking Me Too allegations work sometimes. Yeah, you kind of have to take people's word for it, because very often there will be instances where they just freeze up and feel like they can't do anything, right? And they'll forget stuff. That's how that works, you dumbass.
...ever seen. Abusive people usually leave evidence everywhere because they can't help themselves. We're not done yet.
How the fuck do you know that? How do you know that? How do you know that Tectone left evidence everywhere? You have no idea. You don't know if he left evidence everywhere. You don't have that information. I feel like this is going to be a thing that's commonly, very commonly said here when shitting on this fucking complete moron, is you don't know if he fucking left evidence everywhere of the abuses that he had. Because this already puts an inherent hole in your fucking goddamn argument, right? If there was evidence left everywhere, think before you sleep, and this is why you're an idiot, then why didn't Pinkchyu use that in order to corroborate any of her stories then? This should be an easy dunkery-do for you, but you alleging that an abuser is naturally going to leave a bunch of evidence everywhere for the abuses that they are doing, inherently speaking, means that this could have been... Do you not think that that could have been used potentially by Pinkchyu herself in any of the fucking testimony? Yet that didn't fucking happen, though. I'm sensing some holes in your fucking argumentation.
Pinkchyu and Tectone's lawyer Joffrey discuss her leaving the mental hospital, and there's this part where Joffrey says, in fact, I believe he's listed, and the rest is blacked out. Judging by the context clues, I'm guessing that he's saying that Tectone was listed as an emergency contact, considering that Tectone said stuff like, if you need anything, let me know, and Pinkchyu told him what hospital she was going to be at. So again, extremely weird behavior here, especially considering that Pinkchyu communicates...
Again, keep in mind, this was right after the breakup happens, and she leaves Tectone, and by the way, no police filing or reports has been filed yet. We don't know if they had like any kind of verbal agreement to not talk about this. We have no fucking idea. But Think Before You Sleep is just going to automatically work under the assumption that Pinkchyu is just inherently fucking wrong here. When this is just not how that fucking works.
So her mom lives somewhere in the area, so why is she using her alleged abuser that she's afraid of as a contact instead of her mom? Moving on, let's talk about why a protection order was granted.
Because again, we don't necessarily... She might not have understood necessarily about the abuses that Tectone did against her, right? She might not have had necessarily understood what exactly happened to her, exactly. Because that's how it very often works with a lot of Me Too sort of stuff. Like, it gets played out in court, and then the court comes to a decision, comes to a judgment there. But otherwise, you believe the victims in the meantime. But again... Think Before You Sleep is the type of guy to be like, oh, you never believe any of the victims. They're all lascivious whores anyways who just want to benefit off of men. Yeah.
In Texas, in order to get a protection order, the standard of proof is reasonable to believe. This is kind of a major issue for me when it comes to family court, and I think the law around this needs to be modified to prevent abuse, especially in cases like Tectone's where there's tons of counter evidence to his accuser's story. Reasonable to believe is a very low standard. It's like saying if one person thinks, yeah, that could have happened, that's enough to grant an order in Texas. This standard is even lower than the more likely than not to have happened standard, which is what we're all used to hearing about in civil court cases.
This is in Texas. I want to say this again. This is not California. This is not New York. This is not Illinois. This is not Massachusetts. This is Texas.
He's implying that it's impossible to get an order of protection in Texas when actually...
Well, I mean, the standards there are going to be a bit more difficult, right? Generally speaking, because there's going to be a lot of instances that are working against the woman there in particular.
Actually, it seems to be fairly easy. Here's Michelle Locke, Pinkchyu's lawyer, on her podcast, saying that the standard of proof in these kinds of courts is very low.
When it comes to marriage and there are abusive instances...
It's just, I don't know if she's talking about Texas court here, but whatever.
How important is it for someone to have that documented?
Your testimony alone can be enough. And people think, well, really? I don't have to have pictures of bruises? I mean, all those things would be great and helpful. It's not a requirement because judges every day make decisions based on the credibility of witnesses. And that's the bottom line. And so the court's gonna look at what you say, what he or she says, and then make the call.
Credibility of fucking witnesses. Now, obviously, Pinkchyu would be a witness to her own fucking crime. We don't have any other witnesses to work off of exactly. So guess what? The judge would have to go off of the basis off of what Pinkchyu said specifically. And we know that since we're talking about Tectone here, we are dealing with someone who is, who admitted that he is a diagnosed fucking schizophrenic and was an unmedicated diagnosed fucking schizophrenic. We know that because he said that himself. Just think before you sleep. Ever mention any of that? No. So we know that fucking Tectone himself also has been a consistent fucking liar on a bunch of different stuff here. Some polls that you can also poke into what Tectone has said as well. Of what reasoning has the judge ever been given to say that Pinkchyu herself is not a fucking credible witness to her own fucking crime? Because Tectone was consistently lying during his parts of his fucking goddamn deposition at fucking court, and trying to say basically a bunch of bullshit to make himself look better, because that's how this shit, generally speaking, works. It's like, yeah, you're gonna do anything possible to make yourself look as good as possible in the mind of the fucking courts. But just think before you sleep, care about any of that stuff. No.
On whether it's a believable story.
Let me remind you that Mike from PA is not a lawyer. He's an idiot propagandist who really seems to have his own boundaries.
That's really funny coming from you. Think before you sleep.
Issues with women. Just because guns are more legal in Texas doesn't mean that this state always favors the right. A lot of bullshit occurs in Texas too. Also, this legal battle between Pinkchyu and Tectone occurred in Travis County, which is where Austin is. Austin is like the California of Texas. But anyway, Pinkchyu still has...
Okay, and of what relevance does that have? Damn, I guess fucking Tectone shouldn't have chose to live in Austin with all of his like streamer pals then. Like, I don't know, cope and fucking seethe. If he wanted to have a better shot, then maybe... because he mentioned this in one of his fucking videos as well. Damn, then maybe he should have, like, moved to San Antonio or some shit where it's, like, less woke or some shit. Stupid.
To prove that there is some sort of reason to believe that Tectone will be a danger to her. Before we go into this next section, I would like to point out that neither Michelle Locke or the judge really have a grasp over how social media works. Pinkchyu's lawyer Michelle said in the transcripts that she doesn't really understand social media, and in this video that I found of the judge, she openly states that she doesn't really have an interest in being online.
And so, for me...
Why the fuck does that matter? Right? Why the fuck does that matter whatsoever? Does Tectone's fucking lawyer have a grasp on social media? Well, he's got like a LinkedIn page, but that's really bad. It doesn't mean you have a grasp on social media. This is fucking nonsense.
I didn't even have social media, by the way, until I knew that I had to run.
Okay, so this is very important because essentially all of Pinkchyu's evidence for why she needs an order of...
Okay, so apparently that's the judge saying that she doesn't have a grasp on social media just because she said that she didn't know she needed social... Because guess what, think before you sleep? Unfortunately, to be able to participate in the modern economy, social media is now a pretty fucking important aspect of being able to find employment now.
Protection, and why Tectone is an ongoing threat is because of his social media posts. And if you as a judge don't understand social media, you're going to miss a ton of nuance. It's actually to the point where this court decision is quite scary and possibly a...
Well, no, that's because, again, Tectone was consistently lying about fucking Pinkchyu's positions on social media, and was getting... Because she initially got a restraining order, which was granted to her, and he was lying and consistently talking about Pinkchyu on his fucking social media. Oh, which was, by the way... something that this motherfucker has never mentioned whatsoever because of Tectone's multiple violations of his fucking restraining order, which was also granted to fucking Pinkchyu. That's the reason why we even got this case on the fucking protective order to begin with. Because, guess what? Tectone would never shut the fuck up about Pinkchyu on his fucking live stream. And Pinkchyu knows and understands that Tectone's audience is very much so primed to believe in anything that his dumbass says, and will go out and harass people, because this is a thing that has happened consistently. In gacha communities, there's been videos about this. Shamoo video withstanding again, or I'm gonna have to get the other fucking Shamoo video. I'm gonna stick that also in the description as well. Where Tectone has a pattern of using his audience to go out and fucking harass people. Like, unironically. Here, let me get the fucking thing specifically about Tectone's restraining order that he violated multiple times. So here, think before you sleep. This is just for you, buddy. The reason why Tectone took a bit of a hiatus from September of last year was because he may have been consistently violating a protective order, or the restraining order, that his ex filed against him after all the fucking abuse stuff happened, right? She filed a restraining order against him, and Tectone would not stop talking about her on his fucking live stream, thus violating the fucking restraining order, making it such that she was going to go ahead now with a protective order, and that's why he had a fucking hiatus to begin with, you stupid motherfucker. Whoa, he violated it like 4 fucking goddamn times. It was constantly fucking extending the restraining order that he had against him, because he would not stop talking about who exactly? Oh, his fucking ex-girlfriend.
Violation of the First Amendment. Personally, I think Pinkchyu is taking advantage of the judge's lack of knowledge of social media and using that to lie. To talk about that, let's go to Exhibit 16, I think. This post from Tectone is still live, so I'll just show the actual tweet.
Yeah, and of course, I guess Tectone didn't do the same thing. Like, silly.
It says, another OnlyFans woman lying about rape, then just moves on. No damage done to them. Ruin a man's life for 3 years. Why is this so common? This is from October 21st of 2025, nearly a year after Tectone was accused, and he's signal boosting a post talking about a friend of his from OTK, who I guess was falsely accused.
So that's
I
Rich
don't know
Campbell?
the situation too well, but that's what's being talked about. Pinkchyu says that she believes that the tweet was about her, and then she says that Tectone makes posts like this to try to get his fans to attack her because she does OnlyFans, which is retarded because if you look at the comments on the tweet, you can see that people aren't talking about.
Bro, you're currently fucking attacking her for doing OnlyFans right now. It seems like Pinkchyu might have a point there.
Pinkchyu. You can't even find her name by doing a text search on the page.
Why the fuck does that matter, right? Do you know what being implicit means, you stupid motherfucker? That's how that works. You don't have to explicitly mention Pinkchyu's name, but at that current point in time, Tectone mentioned Pinkchyu multiple times on his fucking goddamn stream, and his audience, like I've said before, is already primed to attack people that they're, I don't know, egg-headed asshole king already has a problem with, a predisposition against. So, yeah, I think it is perfectly fine to assume that, oh, I may be getting attacked for this fucking bullshit.
You can't see this in the court transcript, but since this tweet is still live, we know who Tectone is referring to in this tweet because he's quote tweeted a post talking about Azalea Lexi. So how in the hell is this comment about Pinkchyu? By the way, this is in stark difference to her allegation.
It's called implicity, not explicity, you dumb motherfucker.
Post where the top comment essentially is saying, hey, you're talking about Tectone, right? The irony here is that Pinkchyu herself made the argument in court that people wouldn't know who she's talking about.
Okay, she's not going to be fucking explicit about that before. It's called being implicit, you stupid motherfucker. Do you not, motherfucker, do you not understand what the word implicit means?
Tectone's name wasn't mentioned in her tweet. But if you know anything about the internet, the minute you start vague posting like this, tons of people in the comments are going to start asking, oh my god, who is she talking about? Which will prompt all the know-it-alls to try to be the first person to say that it's Tectone. In fact, here's me doing this with the false allegations against Turkey Tom. You can see that I don't mention Tom in the post. People are asking who I'm talking about, and if you scroll through the comments, you can see several people explaining the reference.
Oh, so you do understand what fucking vague posting means then. Then why is it a problem when fucking Pinkchyu is doing a vague post, but not a problem when fucking Tectone was also vague posting about her? Again, whoa, a hecking conservative being a hypocrite? Oh, what a shocker.
This is not like a secret behavior that people have. Anytime some sort of inside joke or a test question is posted on social media, tons of people go to the comment section looking for the person who will explain everything. So in my opinion, Pinkchyu left Tectone's name out of this post to prevent a defamation lawsuit, but left in enough clues for people to easily figure out who she was talking about, so her followers would say who it was for her. If she only wanted her friends to know about these allegations like she said in court, she wouldn't have posted it on social media. Anyway, back to Tectone.
What the fuck was the point of bringing this up then? Like, why did you say this? Like, why would you mention this? What was the point of all of this? Like, why are you saying this? What was the point of this? Oh, there was no point in this, of course.
Here's where it gets scary. Remember that the order of protection was granted, meaning that Tectone is not allowed to talk about Pinkchyu. Her evidence that this tweet was about her was purely on the basis of Tectone bringing up OnlyFans, and because she does OnlyFans. She actually makes this argument several times. Here's another one. Exhibit 20. This tweet is also still alive, so I'll just bring it up. He's asking for OnlyFans models to stop...
Well, because... Okay. We're being purposefully obtuse about vague posting here. So, people know that Tectone's girlfriend does OnlyFans. And him talking about OnlyFans in this particular instance can lead people to infer that he is talking about, oh, Pinkchyu here. That's how that works? You dumbass motherfucker. So people can kind of guess, like, oh, and since, again, we know that Tectone's audience is primed to go out and fucking harass people, that he is probably, more than likely, talking about Pinkchyu here. And it is reasonable to assume that she may be fearful for the fact that, oh, she may get harassed by a bunch of fucking dumbass Tectone simps.
being life advice because you can see them naked for less than a Fortnite battle pass.
Where's her dignity? Oh, I don't know. I heard she's selling it for $5.
This is another post where if you scroll down, you can see that nobody is talking about Pinkchyu, yet she is suggesting that these posts are targeted at her and designed to train Tectone's audience into hating her. Now, if you were a judge who doesn't use social media that much, you would think, oh, well, that makes sense. Obviously, he's only mentioning...
Well, by the way, no, it does make perfect sense because that happens all the fucking goddamn time, you dumb motherfucker.
OnlyFans because Pinkchyu does OnlyFans. Why would anybody else talk about that? Except talking about OnlyFans girls is an entire meta of content creation that has existed for years. And I don't know, maybe it has something to do with people like Morgpie trying to bend Twitch's rules so she can show her boobs to 13-year-olds and try to get them addicted to pornography. Maybe some of these women deserve to be criticized, so citing these posts as threats and possibly suggesting that...
Ah, yes, the Nuxtaku fucking defense. It's like, it's obviously not a fucking good thing that that's happening. Oh, whoa, a bunch of people are taking advantage of holes within the fucking TOS in order to benefit themselves. Clearly, this is something that dumbasses like yourself would never do, because you are a very based, principled fucking conservative. Oh, I'm sure you are. Think before you sleep.
That Tectone can never talk about OnlyFans because of the order of protection, I think is a massive violation of the First Amendment. Second, in the same way that she cites these posts about OF, she also cites Tectone talking about illegal aliens as a threat towards her, saying, well, I'm half Mexican, so I'm almost a minority, and that means he's victimizing me with these posts. If this type of post counts as talking about Pinkchyu, then Tectone, as a social media influencer, can't talk about the most pressing issues of the past year because his ex-girlfriend is half Mexican? This is very stupid.
What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, like, that's how that works, you stupid motherfucker. Yeah, because again, potentially, right, and this is how this works, think before you sleep, because of the fact that Tectone is a fucking stalker, as was also alleged within that, or basically one of the other reasons why the protective order was also fucking granted, you don't necessarily know if Tectone would be the type of guy, because he's had pro-ICE posts, right? Like, even recently he said he's pro-ICE. He has had posts where he has said that he's pro-ICE, and he may fucking call ICE on his fucking girlfriend, or his ex-girlfriend, if he's feeling spiteful enough. He might fucking do that. You have no idea.
Continues, and I think this is the most ridiculous part, and I think it's where she takes the most advantage of the judge's ignorance of social media. She says that Tectone makes call-out videos on certain influencers. These kinds of videos, by the way, are extremely common on YouTube. I mean, this reads like she's suggesting that YouTube drama should be illegal.
No. That's a way to say that she might potentially be in fucking danger, because again, since Tectone's audience is primed to attack people, like you're doing right now, because of those fucking call-out posts, it makes it such that, oh, I may have some potential problems here. I may be in potential fucking danger, and might be fucking attacked by Tectone because of the fact that he just keeps, bringing me up constantly with this big fucking goddamn platform, much bigger than that of fucking Pinkchyu's.
She says here that if a protective order isn't granted, then he will continue relentlessly harassing and threatening her to the point where her life will be in danger.
Which, guess what? He has done before in the past with other fucking content creators.
This is absolutely ridiculous. Over the past...
He, again, has a pattern of this fucking behavior. Again, the Shamoo videos go through this perfectly.
Handful of days, Tectone and Mizkif have made like 18 videos on each other. By her logic, you would think that both of them would have been dead 10 times over by now. Keep in mind that between the breakup in July and the time that Pinkchyu...
None of that works. Being purposefully obtuse.
I can't find a single instance where Pinkchu's name is mentioned by Tectone, and she certainly doesn't provide any mentions outside of his post on November 22nd. And keep the context here in mind. Tectone and Pinkchyu...
Well, again, that's because he was talking about her on stream, you dumbass. Okay, dude. Nice meme.
Tectone is silent about Pinkchyu until she accuses him of assault. Then Tectone makes a post saying, I'm going to sue you if you don't apologize. In this context, he's just defending himself. Like he is being legally punished here for defending himself against allegations that had no corroborating evidence.
I think this is...
No, he was being purposefully fucking manipulative to his audience about this fucking bullshit. Which is why, he was held fucking liable for the fucking protective order. Because he was lying.
This is the main reason why Tectone has become so extreme. And whenever you think about it, really calling somebody a rapist is one of like the top 3 things that you can say.
By the way, that's not the reasoning, you stupid motherfucker. I don't know why you're bringing in this fucking troglodyte into any of this, but you know, think before you sleep is not very intelligent. No, the reason why Tectone became such a quote-unquote extremist is because he's a self-admitted grifter. There's also testimony of him literally saying, like, yeah, I decided to grift to the right so then I can maintain social media relevance. He unironically fucking said that.
Somebody that is career-destroying, career-ending, or damaging.
Right, that's a career-ending allegation, and during the court case, Tectone said that he was dropped from his partnership with OTK almost immediately after Pinkchu's allegations. By the way, if you're thinking she must be the innocent party because she filed for the protective order, note that protective orders get abused actually quite a lot. In fact, if you watch a video on Alexa Nicholas, who was falsely accused of leaking sealed court documents by a good friend of Taylor Lorenz, you would know that she mentioned that she had a stalker who was harassing her and her family. That stalker filed a restraining order against her. So yes, these orders can be weaponized. And speaking of that, here's the fun part. I think this is a coordinated effort against Tectone from multiple streamers. Let's move on to another stupid stupid argument that Pinkchyu makes that you would only think is valid if you didn't understand.
Who are the other streamers that decided to also like, that's a fucking allegation that you need to substantiate there. Who was also coordinating with fucking Pinkchyu? What, you think Shamoo was coordinating with Pinkchyu or something? That Mizkif was fucking coordinating as well? Like, who was coordinating there, Bubby? Who was doing that? Probably no one, because he's a liar.
Understand social media. On page 144, Pinkchyu says that Tectone destroyed her streaming career when he made his post on November 22nd. Now, personally, I don't know the validity of her claim. She provides no evidence of this outside of saying that's what happened, and she could have just as easily nuked her own Twitch channel to hide evidence that Tectone wasn't actually abusive, since they did a lot of streams together. But nonetheless, she's...
I don't know how many times this has to be fucking said, you dumbass motherfucker. The abuse could have also fucking happened off the stream, and more than likely happened off stream. You just saying that, oh, they did streams together, so therefore, how could Tectone possibly be abusive, is incredibly fucking dumb.
Suggesting that her online career was over and her life was ruined, which is stupid because her primary income is fansly and OnlyFans. It's stupid because hating on OnlyFans creators only makes them...
Well, I mean, now she doesn't really have another way to be able to monetize herself through Twitch. As she said, her streaming career was destroyed, not her sex work fucking career. That's how that works, you dumbass.
Everyone who is good at social media knows that. That's why OF chicks go on podcasts like Whatever or Fresh and Fit and say dumb stuff. It's to promote their content.
When you got kicked off of Fresh and Fit the first time, how much money did you make, girl, afterwards? Like, how many...
Fresh and Fit, there's no one that does more for OnlyFans women than Fresh and Fit. You have helped sex work.
Wait, but has Pinkchyu ever gone on any of these Manosphere podcasts? I don't think she's ever gone on any of the Manosphere podcasts. She's not gone on any of those, so why are you making this claim? This is irrelevant.
More than anybody, I think, in the world. You have given us the world. Every time I come on your show, my money goes way up. And then he kicked me off, and then he invited me back on. So
the only bad press that you can get for OnlyFans is being unattractive. People don't care about the morality of...
Again, I don't see really much of a point in making this fucking claim here, because as Pinkchyu, to my knowledge, has not been on the Whatever podcast, not been on Fresh and Fit whatsoever. She has been on none of those fucking podcasts.
A porn star. It's actually kind of a problem because you can inadvertently make the thing more popular by criticizing it. So Pinkchyu suggesting that her life was over after a single tweet from Tectone, where keep in mind, he was defending himself against allegations with no corroborating evidence.
I don't know how many times this has to be said, but she doesn't want to fucking stream on Twitch anymore because she doesn't want to get harassed by fucking Tectone viewers. That's why, you dumbass.
It's his right to do that. So Pinkchyu suggesting that her life was over after that tweet couldn't be further from the truth. She's now more popular than ever and has more social media followers than Tectone between Instagram and TikTok. In fact, don't take my word for it. Take it from Mujin, who said on Twitter, "Let it be known that from this point onward, anyone still caught defending Tectone is purposefully ignoring facts for what is most likely a desperate and pathetic attempt at gaining favor or clout." I mean, maybe, though I'm not sure what...
I mean, what Mujin is saying there is a fact. The only criticism that I would really have of Mujin there is he said that he knew this for about a year and then he didn't really disclose anything. Now, it makes sense why he probably wouldn't want to disclose anything, to let all of the sort of court and anything that he might say could be used in favor for either one side or the other one. That's actually, no, that makes perfect sense right there. Why he didn't mention any of this stuff. I don't know why he said oh, I knew about this for about a year. It's oh, okay, weird flex, but okay, dude. But him basically saying yeah, this is anyone who continues to associate with Tectone, who is a known fucking grifter, which you are seemingly doing, but that you're just doing this because you hate women, is generally speaking kind of a fucking piece of shit, right? That's what is essentially being said here, because there is more than enough evidence to support Pinkchyu's fucking claims, which again, since your whole shtick is that you just hate women, you're just going to be oh, well, you know what? This lascivious whore is a lascivious whore, and she is bad because she's a lascivious whore, so therefore I'm going to take the side of Tectone because, again, I just hate the fact that she's an OnlyFans whore.
Note that he said this before the transcript was made available, so real smart of him to not wait until the evidence was public. However, you can see that he is very much on Pinkchyu's side, and more importantly, you can see him stating here that she makes significantly more money than Tectone. Weird, because a statement like that makes her look like she's the one who actually has more power, and thus makes her look like the aggressor.
That's not how that fucking works, you dumbass. Was she making more money at the time when the fucking abuse was happening? Stupid. This is irrelevant.
But here's the part where things get interesting. Again, you would have to understand social media to recognize this stuff. On this page 144, Pinkchyu mentions a girl named Morgan, and then she says that she went to Los Angeles to do collabs. I think it was a mistake to say this, because Morgan is almost certainly Morgpie, a person who Pinkchyu has done numerous collabs with.
Not me. That's funny, because I picked that card in a different group, and it was me. But I'm a big one.
Again, she's done a number of collabs with Morgpie, like this one here at the gym. God, she must edit her photos a lot. I'm not even looking at the same person when she's on video and in a place where she can't cake on makeup. Anyway, there's tons of...
What? Why the fuck? Okay. What the fuck? Why are you saying this? She was in the gym, man. Are you gonna wear makeup at the gym or something? Why would you do that? Why the fuck would you bring this up? Why did you say this? That makes no sense. I can't believe that this OnlyFans whore is not wearing makeup at the gym right now when it's not appropriate for her to wear makeup. And then she would, like, I don't know, wear makeup at the gym, then be like, why is she wearing makeup at the fucking gym? Is she just trying to whore herself out at the gym? That's not an appropriate environment for whoring yourself out at. Yeah, it's just like, dog, I think you might be saying that because you have a problem with women.
Video evidence of them interacting with each other and tons of tweets and stuff. So this person, Morgan, is almost certainly Morgpie. Why is that interesting? Well, it's interesting because one of the things that Morgpie is famous for is helping signal boost false allegations against the YouTubers who run a channel called Super Mega. Turkey Tom made a huge video on it.
Super Mega is a comedy gaming channel with almost 1 million subscribers.
Yeah, because you should definitely believe a lot of stuff from fucking Turkey Tom. Wasn't that whole thing like something that was like completely something else that's related with like another person related to that whatsoever? And but like, okay, Morgpie, like any other normal human being, does hashtag believe all women when it comes to Me Too allegations and stuff like that, because that's like the normal thing that you're supposed to do when it comes to allegations against like big content creators all the fucking goddamn time. But then again, Think Before You Sleep doesn't really give a shit about any of that stuff.
Run by Matt Watson and Ryan McGee. Over the past 2 years, the channel has found itself mired in endless controversy. However, none would prove as devastating as those levied in July of 2023. That month, a cosplayer named Alex accused Super Mega's channel artist, Don, of SA. Matt and Ryan were named for mishandling the situation. This sparked enough backlash for a whole new wave of accusations to surface from former friends and employees. Alex's outright lies in her own video poisoned the well, and if her initial story about Don was true, it is severely discredited by the various falsehoods she spread. These falsehoods were supported by her boyfriend, Ethan Is Online, their friend, Nick Is Not Green, their other friend, Leighton Stollard, Morgpie, and even Rav. All of these people spread provable lies to smear Super Mega as a brand.
Super Mega was a popular variety channel.
Yeah, and they fucking lied, right? That was an allegation that ended up being a lie. That's how it works sometimes with Me Too allegations. And then people are just like, oh, okay, that was a lie. And they move on with their life. It's like, oh, okay, I now believe fucking Super Mega's side of the story. Because, again, the whole thing with Me Too is that you believe the side of the victim initially until evidence comes out within a fucking trial that proves it, that fucking inherently disproves the fucking claims. That's how that works. Think Before You Sleep.
That had a podcast, and this was quite the Turkey Tom video. It's kind of like an epic set of false allegations, but where Morgpie plays a role is that she had a crush on one of the owners named Matt. Matt didn't want to pursue a relationship, but they hooked up twice, and then I think Matt chose a different girl over her.
Honestly, I cried for months over that guy. I was like, give me one of your shirts, you know what I mean? So I posted a picture of me wearing the shirt I took of his onto my personal Twitter, not like my big one, but my other one. And he texted me after ghosting me, after I asked him if he wanted to hang out again that night. He didn't respond to me asking if he wanted to hang out again. He responded with a screenshot of the post and was like, hey, can you take this down? Like, people have seen me in that shirt, like they know that shirt. Can you just take down this post?
Did you hear the part where she said she made the post on a second account? Kind of like similar to what Pinkchyu did. What an odd coincidence.
Why the fuck does that matter? Wait, why does that matter? Of what relevance does that have? People are going to... Okay, people are going to say things on a second account sometimes because they don't want necessarily to signal boost as much of the allegations against somebody because they have made some fucking fear of reprisal or something. Like, that's how that works? Like, I don't see, like, what... Okay, what relevance does that have to the main overall crux of the argument that you're trying to have here? Like, it's irrelevant. Like, who the fuck cares? Why does that matter?
Quickly sum things up. Morgpie became friends with a disgruntled ex-Super Mega employee named Leighton, whose goal was to do whatever he could to ruin their career. Morgpie's purpose was to basically signal boost and give validity to all the provably false things that Leighton was saying about Super Mega. During this time, she also doxes the ex-girlfriend and current girlfriend of one of the owners, and it seems like the doxing was intentional to get back at him for picking another girl over her. Again, these are very familiar circumstances.
So I was just talking about personal details being
I don't think this is the same at all in terms of what happened to Pinkchyu and fucking Tectone. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Necessarily mentioned and weaponized to make me look worse, and unfortunately more people have jumped on that bandwagon. One of those people being Morgan, aka Morgpie. Morgan not only brought my current girlfriend into the situation on stream without her consent, she also name dropped my girlfriend and revealed that we were in a relationship, which was not public information. I'm very private about my relationships, so this was a big blow. Morgan also brought my ex-girlfriend into the picture without her consent and has strongly hurt her because of this. She lied about conversations with my ex-girlfriend. She wrongly stated that I had been having a multiple-month affair with my current girlfriend while I was dating my ex-girlfriend. She also lied about not knowing who my current girlfriend was. because she did know who that was and she used it as a segue to name drop her. She also falsely claimed that...
Okay, I almost want to skip through all of this because I don't think this really has any relevance whatsoever in terms of the Pinkchyu situation. Did Morgpie spend a bunch of time signal boosting Pinkchyu's fucking allegations against Tectone that she had specifically? No, like okay. Bro is just basically bringing this up in order to try to dismiss the allegations that Pinkchyu has against, well, I'm not gonna say allegations, but the shit that fucking Tectone did against fucking Pinkchyu. Like, this is completely and utterly irrelevant.
That I was cheating on my current girlfriend, which is not true. They are both being harassed viciously, and their personal lives are being used as weapons to make me look worse, and I think that's completely unacceptable.
And by the way, even though the allegations were false, they still succeeded. Super Mega took a huge hit, and it really hasn't been the same since, even after Super Mega was exonerated in the eyes of the public. So if you're wondering why people do these tactics and coordinate these ops on Discord and stuff, it's because they work. So where am I...
Again, I don't know, like, what evidence do you have that Pinkchyu was specifically coordinating with Morgpie on fucking Discord to try to take down Tectone? Again, you've not provided any evidence for this fucking claim.
Going with all this? Well, Pinkchyu's official story is that she thought her relationship with Tectone was all consensual until after the breakup and after she confided in a friend who told her that actually she was being abused. And yes, this sounds very much like I consented to sex and then changed my mind later. It's like 2015 college feminist behavior.
That's not how that fucking works, dumbass. Consent can be taken away at any point in fucking time. Like, that's how it works, but then again, you don't understand what the concept of fucking consent is, right? Like, that's how it works. She took away consent during parts of the fucking relationship, right? Where she recognized that what was going on with her was an abusive situation. And it's just like, oh, actually, I think that might have been fucking rape, when she was talking with someone who more than likely had experience in the fucking situation, right? Because guess what? When rape happens to people specifically, are they going to know 100% of the time that it's an abusive, terrible situation and that they're being raped? Not 100% of the time. And since we know that Pinkchyu is autistic, may not be able to pick up on social cues as well as other people, she may not have understood what was happening to her at this fucking goddamn juncture. This is how this shit fucking works. Think before you sleep.
Anyway, my personal opinion is that the friend who Pinkchyu talked to was Morgpie, which is why her name randomly slips in the transcript. And I think the actual reason that Pinkchyu is doing
no evidence of
because
this.
she's mad that Tectone broke up with her, and she's mad that he is with someone else after she clearly was still into him when the relationship ended, based on texts that were shown in court.
Okay, they fucking censors parts of fucking Morgpie, but he doesn't censor the name of fucking Pinkchyu. Okay, whatever, dude.
And what I mean is that on page 113, after the breakup, before she goes into the mental hospital, she's talking about how much she loves him and says, "I'm sorry if I ever hurt you. I'm going to get a full psych evaluation and get some real help." So I've read certain parts of this transcript a lot of times, particularly this part, and here it sounds like the actual story is that she was having regular psychological breakdowns. He got tired of putting up with it, so her going to the mental hospital was...
Oh, so we're not going to mention about the alleged multiple psychological breakdowns that Tectone was also having because he was an undiagnosed fucking... No, not undiagnosed. He was a diagnosed, unmedicated fucking schizophrenic. We're not gonna mention any of that stuff. Think before you sleep. Which is why bro's guns got taken away from him. Okay, dude.
Like, no, wait, I swear I'll change. I would also guess that she was threatening self-harm if he broke up with her, which is why she's saying, "I'm sorry if I ever hurt you." Which again,
this is a lot of fucking goddamn allegations. Like, if someone says, "I'm sorry I ever hurt you," that doesn't mean they inflicted physical harm. There's also something called psychological trauma, you fucking moron.
Look like the abuser because threatening self-harm is emotional blackmail. Honestly, this visit to the mental hospital looks like some sort of bargain to get him back after the breakup, and I think the actual reason that Pinkchyu acted out on social media is because she's pissed off that Tectone moved on to somebody else. Based on the information...
This is such a fucking spurious claim that I don't even... Like, how do you even fucking engage with this? This is such a over-the-top... This is so fucking ridiculous, dude. How do you fucking know any of that stuff? You have no idea if that's the case whatsoever, but you're just going to be like, oh yeah, what Pinkchyu did, it was inherently fucking bad and abusive of fucking Tectone because she was just jealous of the fact that Tectone was seeing someone else instead of him. It's like, that's not how any of this works, you dumbass.
Information that I've shown, I don't think this is that much of a stretch. Now, pay attention to who Pinkchyu is friends with. Would it shock you if I said that Hasan Piker is a friend of hers? I don't know how every bad thing on social media always relates back to this social circle, but it seems to be the case.
Why the fuck are you... What does Hasan have to do with any of this? Again, this is the... I gotta jingle my keys for my mentally retarded fucking audience because Hasan, you know Hasan, he's bad, guys, he's bad. Yeah, Hasan. It's like, bro, does this man live rent-free in your head? That's fucking weird. Hasan, yeah, Hasan, guys, I have to talk about Hasan. It's really important. I have to talk about Hasan at all times because otherwise my dumbass, like, 3 IQ wannabe philosophical videos won't perform well unless I mention Hasan every other 3 seconds.
Is that important? Well, Hasan Piker has this ongoing war with Asmongold, probably because he's mad that Asmon is more famous than him. Hasan likes to sit back and have his little...
Bro. What the fuck is this, man? Why are you bringing this up? What relevance does this have whatsoever? Oh my god. This is just like, Hasan. I have to mention Hasan every 3 seconds because he's the only one who can allow me to be able to make money on fucking social media. Hasan. Okay, dude. Nice meme.
Little lackeys do all the dirty work for him. This is a famous tactic of his, and he primarily works by not directly saying that he has certain values, but he will signal boost all the people who have the values that he wants to promote by watching their content on his stream. That being said, Tectone is friends with Asmongold.
Okay, and Asmongold doesn't do the exact same thing when he watches a bunch of retards like yourself? Dude, welcome to having an orbit as a fucking streamer. I know that's a very difficult concept for lay epic 14-year-old Reddit brain to be able to understand that, but that's how an orbit works, you stupid motherfucker.
Hasan wants to attack Asmongold in any way that he can, so I think his lackeys came up with a plot to destroy Tectone. They do this a lot.
I can't believe that Hasan is masterminding the sexual assault allegations that Pinkchyu had against Tectone in order to try to go after him. He was successful in getting a protective order. Let's not pay attention to any of the testimony that Tectone ever had at any point in time saying that he was a diagnosed unmedicated fucking schizophrenic. But okay, dude.
Recently, Girl Hasan, the promoter of incest, aka Denims, randomly attacked Emiru for being friends with Asmongold and for not talking about her politics, which was stupid and pointless.
Racist chud. Ember is friends with Asmongold, Lakari, Tectone, plus she thinks Ethan Klein's lawsuits are justified.
Asmongold's a bad person. Tectone is a bad person.
But going back to Tectone, seeing that more...
I mean, those are just factual statements. Like, what do you mean? Like, hello? I mean, I don't necessarily agree with what Denims is saying about, like, Emiru. I don't think I really have, like, any reason to say that she is a racist fucking chud. I don't have any evidence to necessarily say that that's the case or not. So, Denim's bad for that particular instance, I guess. Like, okay, whatever. Still don't see what any relevance this has had in particular, but okay. To talk about this specifically, it has all the Asmongold viewers fucking mad on my channel about this specifically. You know, haha, most popular video on my goddamn channel now. Haha! Stay mad, Asmongold chuds. The specific thing with what Emiru was saying is she's not wrong in her assessment that if you get your political takes from streamers online, you need to go fucking touch grass. By the way, keep in mind, who was asking that specifically? Oh. An Asmongold mod, who was her head mod, who basically just, I think, like, set her up to fail. You know, just basically fucked her over for, like, literally no reason. But I digress. The reason why, specifically speaking, the take was bad by Emiru, because it was a bad take. Period, end of story, right? It was a terrible fucking take. She didn't really have to say that at all for any particular reason. And the reason why it was as bad of a take as it was... getting attacked by the burp nation right now, Jesus, was because of the fact that people in her circle, relatively speaking, have already said fuck ICE, right? Cinna has said it, Pokimane has said it. These are all people within, like, Emiru's, I guess, relative orbit. She's talked with and collabed with these people before, right? Like, Emiru just, like she said it herself before, she just kind of gets along with, like, literally everybody, right? That's fine, whatever, who cares, right? And all of these people have said fuck ICE before, but she didn't feel, like, I don't know, comfortable saying fuck ICE, even though, broadly speaking, ICE is the majority popular fucking position within the United States of America because of all the rather blatant illegal actions that ICE is currently conducting right now in the United States of America. But Think Before You Sleep supports ICE, so, or if I were to take a guess, more than likely fucking supports ICE. So he's okay with the actions of La Migra. So the reason why it came off as it looking rather bad that Emiru and very, very fence-city, because it was very fucking fence-city, what Emiru said specifically about ICE, is because, generally speaking, the broader consensus of the American people is more or less agreed that that ICE is fucking dog shit. 65% of Americans, which is a majority, a super majority, including 27% of Republicans, have said that, yeah, the actions of ICE have simply put gone way too fucking far, and that they do not agree with their fucking actions in terms of killing American citizens, and also all of the illegal actions they are doing in terms of deportations and just, well, violations of the fucking Fourth Amendment. They do not agree with it. But Think Before You Sleep does agree with them, so... because he's a fucking freak. Therefore, Asmongold has to automatically be correct, and what he's saying is automatically fucking good, because he also has the exact same politics that I have as well, which are pro-ICE.
Morgpie has already been involved in conspiracy behavior against Super Mega. I don't think it's that unreasonable to say that this tactic is being repeated a lot. Ethan Klein being yet another example.
Again, there's just, literally zero fucking evidence to say that this is the case.
Person who Hasan's social circle has conspired against. So basically, the lackeys create the noise.
Of course, he inherently agrees with Ethan Klein's sort of lawsuits as well. Again, no. Ethan Klein saying that specifically only the women creators being the main ones who collaborated with the H3 Snark Reddit is dubious at best, because what he's referring to is a mega thread within the Snark Reddit when the Hasan context puke dropped, saying that, watch these guys instead to basically get their POV and perspective, to not give any advertisements on that video, that dog shit fucking video that Ethan Klein released on Hasan. There was no evidence to suggest that this was a coordinated effort between the mods of that Snark Reddit and the content creators that Ethan Klein specifically sued. Ethan Klein has presented zero evidence to say that that was the case. He tried to basically get the Discord logs, right? And he was successful in getting those logs from the Snark Reddit mods. But then he never talked about them before. Now, if you know anything about Ethan Klein and his lawsuits, he will very often brag about his victories all the time when there is a successful lawsuit. A lawsuit that goes his way, he brags about it all the time. But he never mentioned any of the messages whatsoever that were supposed to be grabbed from those snark mods. I wonder why that's the case. Think Before You Sleep.
Because he was not successful. That's why.
And then Hasan does stuff like signal boost false information about Tectone that was said by Mizkif.
Apparently Mizkif sent a court reporter to the court to take notes in this process.
By the way, Think Before You Sleep. I know, this came out about 4 days ago, so we know the stuff that fucking Tectone said. The court transcripts are out now. So I don't know why you're relying on the Mizkif mole specifically to try to inherently debunk the claim, when, guess what? Multiple fucking commentary YouTubers and myself have gone over the actual court fucking transcripts, where he consistently had really, really fucking terrible defenses. And by the way, the stuff with the unmedicated diagnosed schizophrenia, that was from the release of those fucking court transcripts there. Think Before You Sleep. So you just going off of inherently what Mizkif's mole is saying is inherently fucking dishonest.
Hasanabi saying, like how when he shocked his dog. So apparently he did a right-wing pivot, and he thought that,
this is, by the way, admitted in the fucking transcripts. He said this. We have the official transcripts. He literally said that, Think Before You Sleep.
Hasanabi bad would work in a court of law. This is why I always say nobody grifts to the left.
Sorry, that last line wasn't super relevant, but it was so stupid that I had to include it. If you read the court transcript, it was actually...
And then you fucking bring up the fucking... this is incredible, dude. This is literally him fucking admitting to this. He literally admitted to this. He admitted to fucking... Okay. He's not gonna fucking play this, play that part of the fucking transcript. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna get that part of the transcript just for you, dumbass. Here, Think Before You Sleep. This was covered here on fucking Mizkif's channel, talking about, this is literally Tectone admitting to doing a fucking political pivot to becoming a fucking right-wing grifter. Yeah. Nice fucking meme, dumbass. Yeah, so fucking stupid, man.
Pinkchu's lawyer who brings up that Hasan abuses animals, not Tectone. And the reason it was brought up was because of a retarded...
Okay, fucking irrelevant, dude. Who the fuck cares about any of that shit? There's no evidence to suggest that Hasan shocked fucking Kaya. It was more than likely a fucking overcorrection that he did. Stupid. There's no point in bringing this up.
counter-argument that Pinkchu's lawyer made about the allegations against Tectone having no effect on how much hate he gets, because he brings up things like Hasan shocking his dog. It was such a stupid part of the transcript because Pinkchu's lawyer is arguing that Pink's pretty direct allegations against Tectone on Twitter of one of the most horrific crimes didn't really have an effect on how many threats he gets, because nobody could figure out that she was talking about him, despite numerous people in the comments saying that it was Tectone. But when Tectone says any random thing about OnlyFans, even when he's showing that he's referencing a different person, it's an immediate threat to Pinkchu's life. So again, I think there's a bigger thing going on here where a bunch
Well, no, the reason why Pinkchu's making that argument specifically is because, again, Tectone has used his audience as a weapon before. Again, there are videos about, I think there was one specifically by, I think the YouTuber's name is Static Tokyo, talking about a particular gacha streamer that he knew of, saying that, yeah, Tectone has weaponized his audience before when they have gone directly against stuff that Tectone has said, and she felt fearful for going against Tectone and criticizing his positions in terms of, well, gacha content, because she knew, I think her name was like, it's Hex something. I'll stick the fucking video also in the description. Specifically mentioning, I'm afraid of criticizing Tectone's fucking positions because I'm afraid that his fucking audience will come in and just fucking harass me, which is exactly what fucking happened. Think before you sleep.
people are collaborating with Pinkchyu to try to destroy Tectone, Morgpie being one of them. By the way, these people are often stupid, so they leave tons of evidence lying around. Here's Mizkif going on a huge tirade during his Tectone video, where he's basically blowing Hasan and the rest of the LA streamer scene.
You attacked Hasan for months, years now, shitting on Hasan, farming so much hate on the guy, acting like he's a problem. You're farming hate on Hasan Piker all fucking day, Rogan, people that are doing shit. You attack Pokimane, Cutie Cinderella.
I don't think it's that much of a stretch to say that these people are talking, especially considering they live in the same area. I mean, Mizkif flat out admits to talking to Pinkchyu.
Mizkif used to live in Austin, you fucking moron, and was part of the reason why fucking OTK began in the beginning, you idiot, and why there was an Austin streaming scene to begin with, you idiot. Okay, whatever, moron.
But you know, not out of concern for her well-being, but to point out that she didn't think it was weird when he shook her hand for too long that one time.
Then me and his ex-girlfriend started to talk, and I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah, I never ever said that in my fucking life. Why the fuck would I care about that? Like, I did not shake her hand a long time.
You can watch Mizkif for about 60 seconds and easily see that this guy only cares about himself. Personally, I think all of this drama...
This is extremely fucking pathetic. Why are you fucking bringing this up? Like, what relevance does this have at all whatsoever? Like, oh, streamers care about themselves and are incredibly okay, nice meme, dude.
Farming for him is just to make people not pay attention to his ex-girlfriend Emiru's allegations, saying that he was pretty abusive.
After like all that rough stuff happened was when the other
that is true.
Domestic abuse stuff really started.
Listen, I don't disagree that Mizkif is probably a fucking piece of shit, and probably was a piece of shit to Emiru, right? But the only reason why you're bringing this up is not because you care about any of the allegations, because you hate women, okay? You don't care about Emiru in this particular instance, you dumbass. You're just trying to use this as a cudgel in order to bash Mizkif over the head with, right? That's like literally what you're fucking doing with this. Like, you bringing this up is wholeheartedly, like, irrelevant. Like, I don't think it really matters in this particular instance whatsoever. Yeah, Mizkif is also a piece of shit. He is incredibly also self-interested when he's doing all this stuff. But here, listen, I've said this before. The enemy of my enemy is my fucking friend, okay? And guess what? Fuck Tectone, but still also fuck Mizkif. Two things can be similar, or true, rather, at the same time.
He would destroy furniture in front of me. He would throw things in front of me and near me. Destroy walls. Again, you can go...
Also, from what I understand, like... Mizkif apparently claims that there was supposed to be a restraining over all of this, but that's not been filed yet, from what I understand. Now, could it be because Emiru's having problems getting that restraining order because Mizkif moved over to States and it could become like a whole legal fuckamagee rigmarole because of that? I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. Listen, like I said before, and I'm consistent on this, you believe Emiru in her fucking allegations against Mizkif, right? I'm not inconsistent about that. I'm probably going to assume, because again, Mizkif has had history of covering up sexual assault before. If you are a fucking abuser, right? you are more than likely going to do similar fucking behaviors. Again, I believe that without a fucking shadow of a doubt. The problem is that Think Before You Sleep is only mentioning this and is only bringing this up as a way to try to defend Tectone and try to discredit the stuff that fucking Mizkif was saying about Tectone as a defense of fucking Tectone. This is inherently fucking dishonest.
See this in some of his VODs in his bedroom, holes in the wall. There would be times where he was upset at me, and I would go to my stream room and literally lock myself in to get away from him. He would be banging on the door and
Mizkif is
screaming at
probably
me.
a piece of
At the time,
shit.
He also would more often do things like if we were driving in the car together, he would be going like 150 miles an hour, and like one time he even said like, well, now we're both gonna die, like threatening to kill both of us.
Interesting story. So we have Mizkif talking to Pinkchyu. Well, of course he was talking to Pinkchyu because he couldn't have known about the court date and where to send his court reporter to take a bunch of factually inaccurate notes. In fact, this idiot friend of Mizkif's who goes by Axion publicly admits to being invited to the court by Pinkchyu.
He knows me. I think he tried to get me kicked out or something. I can only assume. That's not for sure. Because the bailiff came over and asked me, are you here for her? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah. Did Pink know? I said, yeah, she signed me up to be there.
What an idiot to have admitted that. So now we know that Mizkif and Axion's involved.
Bro, what do you mean? You can literally bring in people to act as extra fucking... Like, you can do that if you want. You can just bring people in on court. There's nothing wrong with that necessarily. Like, hello? You'd have to get fucking explicit consent from the one of the fucking affected parties, but guess what? You're allowed to do that.
Involvement was directly approved by Pinkchyu, which is interesting because it seems to be the case that Mizkif has gone on a full-on disinformation campaign against Tectone, where he spreads numerous lies that are easy to disprove if you just look at the court transcript. So now I believe this chick even less. If she was being honest, then she wouldn't have...
No, I don't know, dude. So far, all the, like, stupid fucking bullshit that you've been saying has been very fucking dubious, and you've been making a lot of assumptions at best.
Side with people who constantly make statements of fact that are easy to verify as false. Here's another stupid one that Mizkif said.
And has to pay all of her attorney fees, which is hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's not a small price.
Mizkif, if this is how
I think it's like a couple
$1,000,
$1,000s.
Then you should go work for CNN. The fees were around $15,000. It's said out loud in the courtroom, so his friend would have heard it. And you know, you think a guy like Mizkif who has his own allegations.
Okay, here's the fucking problem. Mizkif said that before he had his hands on the official court documents, you dumbass. Right? So Mizkif, from what we knew, and what Tectone has said on stream before, said that he had fucking 5 lawyers. Having 5 lawyers on retinue tends to be fucking expensive, right? Because he said that on stream before. There's a clip of him literally fucking saying that thing before you sleep, which is why he said that, he had 5 lawyers to fight this fucking goddamn case, because that's something that Tectone has claimed in the past before. So it makes sense why people may operate under the assumption that Tectone has 5 lawyers under his fucking retinue for this specifically. Like, I feel like this should be pretty fucking simple. But then again, we're dealing with a fucking a redditor here, effectively, who thinks he's very, very philosophically sort of deep because he, I don't know, has participated in some Reddit threads in the past.
Allegations of abuse and is saying they aren't true, would be more careful to accurately report information, especially considering that this stuff is so easy to look up. Anyway, Mizkif also graciously leaked his own DMs, showing that he was talking to Mike from PA, another Hasan orbiter, who went on to repeat other bombastic things about Tectone.
So there you have it, chat. Tectone.
There's no relevance, like, that doesn't fucking matter, right? Why does that matter? You don't even know what the contents of the DMs are, right? Just because he was talking to Mike from PA is irrelevant. Like, you're just bringing this up very, very fucking spuriously to just be like, my retarded audience is so fucking stupid, I'm just going to bring up Mike from PA, and that's just going to inherently debunk claims against fucking Mizkif. Like, duh, so easy. And his dumbass audience is going to believe it because his dumbass audience is filled with a bunch of dumbasses.
Is a rapist, he is a stalker, he's a danger to the community, and he should absolutely 100% be permanently banned from Twitch. And can someone explain to me why he's not been permanently banned from Twitch?
That is real crazy coming from a guy who was trying to get one of his viewers to assassinate a YouTuber he didn't like. Or was him simping over the $5 a month girl the more egregious offense? And last, as far as I've been able to find, I think Denims is a part of this as well, because she was openly saying that it was Tectone being accused of sexual assault before that was public. So personally, in my opinion, I think this whole situation was...
I mean, because, again, there was allegations against him by Pinkchyu, and you can make the claim that, yeah, he was accused of fucking sexual assault, and now we can credibly say that more than likely he committed sexual assault. That's how that works. Think before you sleep. But then again, you're not very bright, so you're just going to be like, well, Denim said this bad thing, obviously, and it goes against the person that I'm currently simping for, which is Tectone. So therefore, she has to be inherently stinky and wrong and bad because she's just going after Tectone. Yeah.
was not because Pinkchyu was afraid of Tectone. I think it was a coordinated effort by people who hate Tectone to try to ruin his career. I mean, also, she has no proof that he's abusive outside of her saying he is. And let me elaborate on what I'm talking about. When Emiru accused Mizkif of being abusive, she brought receipts. She had Discord messages and then like a million schizo texts that he sent her after the breakup. Now I'm more likely to believe what she says because she can show documented behavior that supports her accusations. As for Tectone...
Yeah, but then again, like... Pinkchyu, okay, like, do you think that there's documented behavior of the fucking goddamn, like, sexual assault that happened, you dumbass? You idiot? Was like, the abuses of all the shit that fucking Tectone was saying, was that all being constantly recorded? No, the fuck it was not, you idiot. And how do you even know that Pinkchyu had access to any of that, even if that were the fucking case? Liar. He's just a fucking liar, this dude.
The only time he mentions Pinkchyu is after she accuses him of abuse, and what's really going on here is that she made an allegation with no corroborating evidence. Tectone says that's not true, and now he's getting legally punished for it. It's actually disturbing how often these types of situations happen. I mentioned recently that Turkey...
Yeah, we're not talking about how this dude literally said that he, in a fucking court, to try to claim insanity, that he was a fucking goddamn unmedicated diagnosed schizophrenic. But okay, dude.
Tom was falsely accused by an ex-girlfriend of his in a situation that is strikingly similar to Tectone's, where 4 days after the breakup, she goes on to Kiwi Farms to accuse him of physical abuse, filming without consent, and engaging in weird fetishes.
Recently, I've been accused by an ex-girlfriend, along with an ex-partner, of non-consensually filming sexual encounters, being so rough and inconsiderate during sexual encounters that it bordered on assault, encouraging eating disorders, being into age play, along with a litany of other completely baseless, false accusations.
The reality was that his ex-girlfriend, Rowan, was actively consenting to everything, including being filmed. She had a bunch of creepy fetishes, and she was trying to push Tom into behavior that he didn't want to engage with.
He never asked me. He would just pull out his phone and record. I wouldn't notice until maybe 30 seconds in a minute or a minute into it.
Now, I obviously can't and would never show these videos to anyone.
So really, I don't really give as much of a shit about this in particular, because there's other people who have fucking covered all this stuff more in detail. I don't care too much about the fucking Turkey Tom allegations. We're talking about the Pinkchyu stuff specifically. The difference here is the court was just like, it seems like he may have actually done this shit. And we have no reason to believe that our witness here, Pinkchyu, of course, witness to her own fucking crimes, because more than likely this was only done between two people, right? Like, probably done in private without the other roommates being seen, potentially being seen any of the sort of stuff that Tectone was doing against Pinkchyu. But is Think Before You Sleep going to consider something like that? No, of course not. More than likely, because of all this stuff not being made public, with all the fucking videos, right? Because, again, she probably doesn't want to get doxxed, aka Pinkchyu, right? More than likely doesn't want to get doxxed. Has made it such that, I don't want to fucking deal with any of this fucking bullshit when it comes to all these fucking videos leaking, right? Because it's embarrassing. I don't want to relive my trauma. Blah, 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 blah. There could be a whole multitude of reasons as to why she doesn't want to have any of those videos be leaked. Because we know that Tectone also filmed Pinkchyu, right? That was also in the fucking court transcripts, which is dumbass is not fucking mentioning. Because he's done this before. This is a pattern of behavior, specifically with Tectone. He's also done it with Fream as well. This, I believe, was also mentioned in the Shamoo video. So, Tectone's done this in the past before. We have no reason to believe that he wouldn't do it again, right? Doi. The only reason why Turkey Tom's situation is trying to be brought up here in particular by Think Before You Sleep is because he just hates women and he just wants to use this as a way to discredit anyone who has Me Too allegations against any man, inherently speaking. That's the only reason why he's saying this shit.
Anyone, but in them, it's undeniable that she is staring directly into the camera from the moment the video starts. Because the reality is that every single time we recorded, I had explicit permission. Rowan texts me saying, quote, "Rape thing is so hot." My response to this is, consensual sex is good.
It's funny because Tom sends texts like the FBI is watching. I just want to make sure that we've established that this is all consensual, okay? Somebody knew this was coming.
In the interview, it stated that our breakup took place.
Now here's the thing that's called consensual non-consent, something which conservatives have a hard time fucking understanding. But yes. Rape play, right? You can consent to being raped consensually to doing something that is non-consensual because, I don't know, you have like a fucking fetish with it or something. It's something that's inherent with fucking BDSM, okay? Sussy stuff, people do some weird shit because that's part of their fucking kinks or whatever. Whatever. Not really my sort of like thing to fucking litigate here. It's a part of fucking BDSM.
December, and that after that she realized how bad it was, and she felt the need to contact Katie, who we're gonna get into later.
Gee, where have I heard that one before? If you watch Tom's video on the false allegations against him, it's
again, like, think before you sleep. Very often women are going to confide in other people consistently. That's just a thing that always fucking happens. Women will talk with other women about their fucking sexual experiences very often. Sup, Kathy Doyle? How's it going, buddy? We're going over this Tectone sweeper right now, Think Before You Sleep, who is basically saying, like, I'm going to inherently discredit literally everything against Pinkchyu, but never bring up any of the bullshit that Tectone did against also Pinkchyu, that he also said when he was fucking talking in the fucking court transcripts. Like, this dude fucking Think Before You Sleep at 0 point in time ever fucking mentioned that Tectone in his fucking testimony said that he was a diagnosed, unmedicated fucking schizophrenic. And he's just like, I can't believe that Tectone's Second Amendment rights are being violated because of that. It's like, because he literally claimed to try to claim insanity that he was an unmedicated, diagnosed schizophrenic. It makes a lot of sense why a judge might be like, you have guns, and you're known for stalking your fucking girlfriend. You've stalked your fucking girlfriend before, and you have guns. Yeah, we're gonna fucking take those things away from you. Like, what the fuck? Like, why would you say that? But this dude's just like, clearly Tectone did nothing wrong when he said that. It's stupid. This guy is just... Basically, Think Before You Sleep, Kathy Doyle, or Kathy, if you don't know anything about this dumbass, he's basically like the personification of like a 14-year-old discovering Reddit for the first time and saying like, whoa, this is actually really fucking deep, dude. I'm like learning so much on fucking Reddit.
Incredibly similar story to Tectone's, except I think Tom is a little bit more conscientious about this stuff, and so he made sure to have evidence of his ex openly saying that she would blackmail him if they didn't get back together.
Yes, and because fucking Tectone definitely also had a bunch of evidence for this as well. Like, again, this motherfucker will always have the highest standards for the burden of proof and literally everything on the fucking victim at all times in every single fucking instance when Tectone has provided basically zero fucking evidence debunking any of the claims. Again, Shamoo's video does a fantastic job debunking a lot of fucking Tectone's lies.
Immediately after I told Rowan that I wanted to break up with her, she began threatening to post about me online.
I'm gonna make it hard for you to ever be in a relationship.
Okay, Rowan, I just want to move on and have my life, and you'll move on and have your life, and we can be in our own corners.
Yeah, listen, this is how Me Too stuff works. Think Before You Sleep. Sometimes the other side on the Me Too allegation can be doing this for their own abusive reasons, right? Absolutely. I don't disagree with that. That's a thing that fucking happens consistently. The problem is, and the reason why the standard is believe victims, because historically speaking, and it's exactly what you are fucking doing, people will not inherently believe victims and will just say that they're crazed, lascivious whores looking to try to get some benefit out of this from the man or whatever, which is the position that you, broadly speaking, adopt because you're like a shut-in little fucking freak who pretends to make philosophically based videos. So that's why, or generally speaking, how Me Too situations work. You believe what the victims are saying, you let it play out in court or in the sort of like a court of like public opinion or whatever. You let it play out, you let the facts come out, you make fucking judgments based off of those fucking facts, and then you come to your own fucking positions. Your problem, Think Before You Sleep, is that your position is inherently OnlyFans whore trying to take down another man. Clearly that has to be the fault of the fucking OnlyFans whore. Inherently has to be the fault of the OnlyFans whore. That's not how that's not how any of this shit works, Think Before You Sleep.
We don't have to do damage to each other.
Like, do you think we'll ever be able to see each other?
After the way these conversations have gone today, I really don't think so.
Why?
Because you're like threatening to blackmail me.
I'm not. Well, if you don't come see me, then I will.
You know what's great about all this? Despite that Tom has her recorded saying that she will blackmail him, there really isn't much remedy you can get against someone for...
Again, like, I still... This... bringing up Turkey Tom situation, which, I don't know, seemed kind of bad. I guess. Like, I'm just not very interested in looking into that. Yeah, like, you can sometimes say, in terms of Me Too situations, that the girl there was being a piece of shit and was trying to leverage that against Turkey Tom. Like, you can... That's a thing that happens sometimes.
False allegations unless you sue them for defamation, which is expensive and hard to prove, and it's why people feel safe in falsely accusing somebody. And then asshats like Hasan will boost the false allegations without critical thought or saying where's the evidence.
By the way, one of your OG slop-tuber ops, Turkey Tom, also caught on sexual assault allegation where he physically abused 2 of his exes. This didn't even reach your radar because he's laying low. No, it didn't reach my radar because I have so many fucking ops that have done like sexual assault that I don't even know who the fuck this one is. But that's crazy.
There he is, just agreeing with and validating the allegation with no...
He didn't agree with anything there. Again, like... Hasan, guys, Hasan. We hate Hasan, right, guys? Whoa, we really fucking hate Hasan. There's no point. Like, what's the relevance of bringing up Hasan in this particular instance? There's no point in fucking bringing it up here. It's nonsense. You're just doing this because, again, jingle key, jingle key, jingle key, Hasan, 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 Hasan. My mentally ill Asmongold audience has to always have, like, mentions of Hasan every 3 seconds because, like Markiplier did with the fucking, like, I don't know, VTuber key jingle meme. It's just like, I need to make sure that you're paying attention. Oh, you're not paying attention. Jingle, 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 jingle. Jingle, jangle, jingle, jangle. Here's the keys. Look at the keys.
Pushback despite knowing nothing about it. Luckily, Tom knew the exact way to humiliate his ex for blackmailing him and how to prove his innocence. But for average people, this can be life-destroying, and there's not really much you can do about it. Anyway, let's go to the court decision. Like everyone else, I already knew the results before I read this transcript, and I was still shocked to see this.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
And the evidence that's been provided to the court does find that there are reasonable grounds to believe that the applicant is the victim of sexual assault. The court makes the additional finding that there are reasonable grounds to believe that the applicant is the victim of stalking and will grant a 10-year protective order. The court means the judge, by the way. The judge made this decision. Just to make it clear that this was not a trial by jury. Some additional things. Tectone has to pay...
Well, because it didn't need to be a trial by jury in this particular instance. There's like no... I'm pretty sure if it was a trial by jury, it might have actually made Tectone look worse. Like... Okay, dude. Nice meme.
$1,000 in lawyer fees to Pinkchyu. He can't go anywhere near her. Who cares about that? He obviously doesn't want to go near her. He has lost his right to own a firearm for 10 years, which is nuts considering she didn't really have any evidence that Tectone was dangerous. And...
Okay, you know what? We're gonna get it. 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 We're gonna get it because he's just not mentioning the fucking schizophrenia stuff. Alright, so since Think Before You Sleep is not an honest actor, he never mentions the actual main reason for as to why, and I've been consistently fucking mentioning it, the reasoning for as to why Tectone is not allowed to own guns for 10 years anymore. This is literally why. He testifies under oath that he has schizophrenia. He says that his diagnosis came more than a decade ago, unless he attended university very late, which is possible. He describes only one session, although it may have been several. He was prescribed back then originally. He apparently said he has hallucinations once a month. In spite of these hallucinations and the fact that he was diagnosed, Tectone believes he has this under control. He only sees things like faces melting, and medication in his experience has made him worse. Tectone does not consider his schizophrenia severe, providing further evidence that he has no plan to seek treatment. Again, a judge looking at this and saying, like, this guy owns multiple fucking goddamn guns? What the fuck is this, bro? Like, he has said that he has schizophrenia, he's unmedicated for it, he thinks he has it under control, and he has fucking guns, and he's fucking stalking. Genuinely insane. Tectone's bar for serious schizophrenia is based on Oscar award-winning movie A Beautiful Mind, so he thinks he has schizophrenia because he watched a movie once. Insane. After being informed of the issues with untreated schizophrenia, Tectone informs Pink's lawyer that he takes no medication, just multivitamins and fish oil. From what I recall, now listen, anyone can fucking corroborate this. I don't think that is the way you handle schizophrenia. Tectone has apparently never sought therapy with a registered professional. This seems to lend further credence to the idea that he may have been diagnosed in a single visit in college. This is particularly strange because he has claimed to have had a therapist. Again, JStock provides all the parts of the fucking goddamn transcript, which you seem to not do, think before you sleep. Pink's lawyer asks Tectone if he is aware of the fact that someone with schizophrenia may have a diminished capacity to gauge their own symptoms. Tectone was unaware. Oops. Yikes. He may not have known the extent of his fucking goddamn schizophrenia, but he was still constantly claiming that he has fucking schizophrenia. Leading me to believe, I'm going to do a little bit of leading to believe here, as Think Before You Sleep has been consistently doing in his fucking video. But I can also think to believe that Tectone more than likely had no fucking idea about what any of the what any of these sort of symptoms of schizophrenia were, what basically any of the issues that he was having with these alleged hallucinations that he was having once a month of his supposed diagnosis of schizophrenia that he had during college, but then never really did anything about it for 10 years, never even saw a therapist for this, and never got medicated for this, right? He was unmedicated, and he's, by the way, still owning guns during this whole entire time. This dude basically was just like, I saw a movie about it, I take fish oil and vitamins, therefore it's totally okay. It's like, when that's literally not how any of this works. Tectone more than likely said he had schizophrenia because he's been consistently saying stuff like schizo and seeing schizo as a short form for schizophrenic online. So then he decided to claim that he himself also has schizophrenia. That is what I believe. And that's why he was saying like, I'm a schizophrenic, dude. Yeah, dude. I'm a schizophrenic. I am not undiagnosed. I'm a diagnosed, unmedicated schizophrenic. Very fucking stupid. Pink's lawyer reiterates how scary this is for Pink in her closing statement. I couldn't agree more with this part of her statement, and I have absolutely no idea how Tectone was allowed to own firearms in the first place. Fantastic fucking point. The only thing that I can possibly think of for as to why he was even allowed to have firearms at this point was because he probably was lying about the fact that he has schizophrenia. He was either lying or he had no idea whatever associated mental problems that he was having. On his fucking comeback stream, apparently he never had fucking schizophrenia to begin with. It turns out the schizophrenia was completely fake and was totally not there. And he actually went to see a licensed practicing therapist over the mental troubles that he has. Stupid. Listen. Final fucking meme. Honestly, this testimony seems like it's being given by someone not taking the hearing seriously. He appeared extremely unprepared, even in direct examination by his own lawyers. Couldn't agree with that more. Like, he literally called the civil case against him a fucking vibe check in his comeback stream. Like, and we've taken a look at the fucking testimony before. He was not serious the whole time. He was consistently just saying a bunch of random fucking bullshit to make himself look better. That's why he was doing it. And consistently being extremely fucking manipulative. Didn't fucking work, obviously, because unfortunately, Tectone doesn't know how to deal with actual fucking professionals that are not his 3 IQ audience and dipshits like fucking think before you sleep. I wanted to get this thread out so that he'd have a chance to respond to it during his stream tomorrow. Well, his response to it was that, actually, the thing I thought that was schizophrenia, and I actually went to see a guy about this, even though he lied it in the past before, apparently, about having a therapist who might have talked about this, unless he never mentioned any of his, problems with fucking schizophrenia in the past before or something during any of his therapy sessions, but whatever. There's so many potential avenues and sort of, problems going on here that I'm just going to operate on the assumption that he's probably fucking lying or he had no idea what the fuck he was talking about. It's one of the two, okay? The fact that he never mentioned that he was an unmedicated diagnosed schizophrenic to his fucking therapist is incredibly fucking idiotic and stupid. But then again, we're talking about Tectone here, who's just really fucking dumb. But he can dupe dipshits like this wannabe redditor philosopher known as Think Before You Sleep.
And he's not allowed to talk about her, which again is also ridiculous, not because he can't say the name Pinkchyu for 10 years, but because of the criteria they consider to be a...
This is why he's not allowed to talk about her. He can just keep... Because he's literally done this in the past before. He's mentioned, and he kept mentioning Pinkchyu multiple fucking times. Again, Shamoo's video goes over this perfectly.
Conversation about Pinkchyu, as in, if Tectone ever talks about OnlyFans in a negative light, is he liable for criminal charges? This is insane.
No, you fucking moron. Specifically talking about fucking Pinkchyu. Idiot. Stupid. Guess what? If he vague posts now, is it possible that he could be mentioning fucking Pinkchyu? Yeah, it's entirely fucking possible, because guess what? That's the nature of a fucking vague post. What do you mean? Okay, dude. Nice meme.
nothing going in, I don't think any reasonable person would have agreed with the judge here. So I started researching on who this person is.
Oh, I'm
Judge
sure.
Dimple Malhotra. If you go to her website, it basically describes her as an activist who started out by working in San Francisco, California.
Ah, yes. Here we go. Mention the fucking buzzwords so the lizard brains get fucking activated.
Remember how I said that Austin is the California of Texas? Also this.
It is so incredibly important that we celebrate.
Very fucking stupid of you to fucking say that. Again, like, listen. Stupid fucking dumbass buzzwords for my 3 IQ audience to latch onto, to inherently prove to try to prove the fucking judges being inaccurate or something in terms of her fucking judgments is stupid. It's just dumb. It's stupid.
And embrace diversity. And I think it's just so important even for this courtroom, when people walk into this courtroom and they're from different ethnicities, cultural backgrounds, socioeconomic statuses, to be able to walk in and see someone who looks like me, I think provides a certain level of comfort to them.
An immigrant who grew up in the U.S. with a family environment deeply rooted in Indian culture. Judge Dimple Malhotra is the first and only person of South Asian descent elected to a judicial seat in Travis County history. Oh great, so she's one of those people where we have to focus on their race instead of their qualifications.
You know,
how the fuck do you know that's okay? You don't know what she fucking studied. You don't know her fucking degree. As far as I know, you're just a fucking wannabe Redditor fucking philosopher who went on Reddit a couple too many times and now think you are poised to be a fucking philosopher. Like, did you go to fucking school for philosophy or something? Did you ever go to... Are you qualified to talk about any of the fucking particular topics that you're speaking on right now? As far as I can tell, you're not a fucking qualified lawyer. Think before you sleep. Just like myself, you're just a shithead on the internet.
Sometimes I think, especially for me, being an immigrant, being a woman of color.
Basically, I'm saying the judge is woke. Now, there were a bunch of arguments made by Pinkchyu's lawyer that didn't...
Do we really need to say why that's, like, honestly, like, the most 3 IQ fucking shit on the fucking planet? It's like, oh, man, she's woke. I have to jingle my keys for my Asmongold audience to make sure that I mention that she's woke because she's Indian and she's a woman. Yeah.
Didn't really make sense to me. I mean the ones where she brings up Tectone talking about anti-white racism. What does that have to do with this case? What does it have to do with Pinkchyu? Why did Pinkchyu bring up that she's half Mexican? Why are they making arguments that are irrelevant?
Because ICE is just going around and apprehending people who are Hispanic or if they think that they look a little too Hispanic. And we have no idea because Tectone has said that he is pro-ICE. Let's get a fucking tweet about that real fucking goddamn quick. I wonder why Pinkchyu may be constantly bringing up ICE over and over and over again. Think before you sleep. Now, again, Tectone is a grifter. He doesn't fundamentally fucking believe in anything. So, it should go without, like, I don't know, like, a reasonable doubt that this dumbass will just say things in order to virtue signal to his fucking audience. Something that you typically seem to be very obsessed with. But I'm not mentioning it here specifically. But, okay, whatever. Dishonesty from someone like Think Before You Sleep, as always. The fact that you are not mentioning this as a potential valid reason, given all the stuff that's going on with ICE, and given how fucking unpopular ICE is right now in the United States of America, I think it is pretty reasonable to fucking believe that Pinkchyu could potentially be afraid of the actions of ICE. Shocker. I know, a little crazy, isn't it?
And would clearly make a judge who ran as a Democrat think that Tectone is a racist. Keep in mind that this court...
Why the fuck does it matter that, she's a minority and believes in liberal fucking values and ran as a fucking Democrat? That doesn't inherently disqualify you from a position of being a fucking county judge. Dumbass.
Occurring on January 23rd of 2026, which is during a bunch of anti-ICE riots and after Renee Good died. These are very politically polarized things to bring up that I think aren't relevant to Tectone's case. I'm guessing that maybe Pinkchyu's lawyer did some research on the judge.
Well, no, again, I don't know how many times this has to be fucking said, dumbass, but yeah, also, yeah, riots, whatever, who cares? Liar, he just lies about as much as he fucking breathes. The reason why she could be afraid is because of the fact that Renee Nicole Good, who is an American citizen, same with Alex Peretti, who is an American citizen, got fucking shot by ICE. And more than likely, Pinkchyu is probably vaguely aware of the fact that ICE will literally just snag up people if they look a little quote-unquote too Hispanic. Yeah, she was fucking murdered, Alex Royfoss, but again, we're talking about Think Before You Sleep here, specifically. He's okay with the actions of ICE because he's just a far-right little fucking freak.
judge, and maybe this is why Judge Malhotra didn't notice things like Pinkchyu's lawyer victim blaming Tectone for his abuse as a child in her opening statements. Something that was immediately noticeable to me. I mean, this statement right here very much makes it seem like Pinkchyu was trying to use shame to force Tectone into sex acts that he was uncomfortable with because of his childhood trauma. Wouldn't it be ironic?
This is a complete fucking reach. Like, the only reason why fucking Tectone even brought that up to begin with, it was to try to basically like hand wave away people from the allegations that are being put up against him. That's literally the fucking main reasoning. But then again, whoa, are you telling me that think before you sleep is a fucking liar? Crazy.
Like if that were the case.
Because you spent your career doing domestic violence cases and you have a background, some might think that it would be hard for you to be impartial as the judge.
Right.
So how do you maintain your impartiality?
As a prosecutor, I took an oath to seek justice, not conviction. And so people have to remember that and that not to say that there aren't prosecutors in the world who are doing the wrong thing. Unfortunately, with every profession, you have people who really shouldn't be in that profession, who are there for the wrong reason. I took an oath as a judge to be fair and impartial. And that is also incredibly important. People walking into your courtroom deserve your impartiality and to listen to their side of the story.
That was hard to listen to.
Okay, like, what was the point of bringing this up? Yeah, like, whoa, she described what a fucking goddamn judge is supposed to do. Good job, think before you sleep. You brought up a clip where she mentioned what a judge is supposed to do. So you're going to make the allegation, despite the fact you have provided very fucking spurious claims for the fact that she's an activist fucking judge or some shit? Basically, like, no evidence whatsoever to suggest that she's an activist judge and is inherently against Tectone because he's white or some shit? Again, complete fucking nonsense, dude.
Considering her decision on Tectone's case. How do you stay impartial? That's easy. The answer is she doesn't. Now, this does seem like a random question to ask.
Again,
why was it brought up?
like what are you supposed to say to this besides, wow, this is incredibly fucking spurious, and there is literally fucking zero evidence to this whatsoever?
Well, the answer to that, I think, is a much bigger issue.
Again, jingling keys.
The answer, I think, is a massive conflict of interest. I believe she was asked that question because a few years prior to this interview, there was an article written on her about how a lawyer got her taken off his case because of her domestic violence activism. Now, I think.
Why does that fucking matter in this particular fucking case? She wasn't taken off in this particular instance. So you're just going to claim, like, oh yeah, that means she was definitely biased inherently. That's not how that works, you idiot.
To stop domestic violence is great. However, I also agree with the defense attorney, Steve Brand, who says that her...
Do you really think that stopping domestic violence is great? You're currently defending Tectone right now, buddy. I don't think you care about domestic violence.
Her activism makes her biased towards alleged victims, and there's no way he could win a case with her as a judge. He also kind of recommends that every defense lawyer should be filing a motion to remove her from their case. And personally, after reading the transcript of Tectone's hearing, I agree. And in my
of course,
opinion with 2020 hindsight, Tectone's lawyer should have gotten Judge Dimple removed and gone with somebody else. I'm curious how many other people like Tectone she's...
Then why was that never a motion that was filed by Tectone's lawyer? Why didn't he fucking do that? Again, like, maximum amount of responsibility has to be put on the people who he thinks caused an outcome that he does not like. But you know, if anything that Tectone did was wrong in his terrible fucking goddamn testimonies, who cares? Tectone is a perfect little angel who can't possibly do anything wrong whatsoever.
Done this to, where the accuser has no corroborating evidence, mixed in with strong counter evidence against her story.
A lot of people don't know that there's a huge intersection between...
I don't know how many times this has to be said, but again, it's a civil court. The burden of proof is less in comparison to criminal court, which was already had in a police investigation into that specifically, which ended up not producing any evidence to say that what Tectone did was a crime. Which is why they then decided to proceed, probably through the advice of Pinkchyu's lawyer, to go ahead with the civil case to try to get a fucking protective order. Shocker, I know.
Gun violence and domestic violence. All the studies that have been done show us that over half of the cases where there have been mass shooting, the mass shooter has had a history of domestic violence.
Did I hear that correctly? Is this why Tectone has to be treated like a felon for something that, after reading the transcript, I don't think he did? It looks like she's on some sort
I know exactly the argument that he's going to go with here. By the way, statistically speaking, what she's saying there is correct. A lot of mass shooters, generally speaking, have had sort of like a domestic violence like accusations and convictions against them before. That's a fact. This has been statistically borne out. Tectone also abused his fucking ex-wife, and she would have come out with allegations against him outlining the abuse that she suffered under fucking Tectone, but the NDA put the kibosh on that shit. So in reality, we actually have no idea if what Tectone did to Fream was abusive or not. But we know that there was going to be fucking allegations in a Google document that Tectone filed an NDA against. They settled out of court, and the NDA was approved after that settling out. Which is something that, the Shamoo video also goes over as well.
Sort of anti-gun crusade, which is why she took his access to firearms away for a decade. For a decade, when he's...
Yeah. This is why they took the fucking guns away. Idiot. Because he literally had wild fucking testimony about his schizophrenia diagnosis.
He's a streamer, which puts his life in danger. Has she ever heard of the phrase correlation does not equal causation? What evidence do you have that Tectone's going to crash out and become like a mass shooter or something? Is this why...
Bro, he said he's an unmedicated diagnosed schizophrenic in his court testimony, you idiot. Okay, dude.
Pinkchu's lawyer tried to associate him with white supremacy? Is it also why Pinkchu's lawyer, immorally in my opinion, pretended to be a medical expert on schizophrenia to frame Tectone as an unmedicated psycho who could break any time?
But I don't know how many times this has to be told to you, you fucking retard. He literally fucking did that to himself. Idiot, 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 idiot.
By the way, Tectone got re-diagnosed, and he doesn't have schizophrenia.
I went to a psychiatrist.
This is fucking incredible that he just does refusal. He only is picking out specific parts of the schizophrenia testimony that Tectone had, where he said that he was a diagnosed, unmedicated schizophrenic based off of a movie that he watched, and that he was sort of like dealing with that diagnosis through multivitamins and fish oil. Okay, dude. Nice meme.
Yesterday. The psychiatrist believes the reason why I see things that aren't there, mainly at night, is due to the fact that I got stabbed in my left eye, and my right eye is normal. And so they believe that my eyeballs are causing me to temporarily hallucinate things that aren't there because they're not signaling my brain properly. And what they believe that I have is anxiety with bad vision as well as unresolved childhood trauma. And so I was going to actually try to get medicated. They said I do not require medication.
You have to read the transcript to get to the level of fuck these people that I'm at.
Like, I mean, he's just a liar, dude. Like, what else can you say? He's just lying here.
Basically what's happened here is that to a judge who appears to be in favor of DEI and appears to be anti-gun, Pinkchu's lawyer framed Tectone as a violent, unmedicated, schizophrenic neo-Nazi. Tectone is also bald, so he might as well be...
Yeah, dude, that's definitely the conclusion to fucking come from this mentally retarded neo-Nazi.
As a skinhead too. No wonder this trial ended the way it did. This is so messed up, and I don't just think this is a violation of the First and the Second Amendment, but also a violation of the Eighth Amendment against cruel and unusual punishment. It's also clear to me, in my opinion, based on the evidence that I've shown, that a big part of the reason that Pinkchyu filed for this protective order is to avoid a defamation lawsuit. Maybe Tectone's biggest mistake here was being openly arrogant around all this during his live streams, but it's hard to blame him.
Oh, that was a mistake now, was it? Oh, I'm sure that, he was, that was definitely a fucking mistake there, him being openly arrogant on his fucking live streams, you stupid motherfucker.
Because who in the hell would have thought that he would have lost this case based on the evidence in the court transcripts? And you know what the real messed up thing is? Well, I said it already. Pinkchyu most likely will not receive any consequences for this, and Tectone will probably not be able to win an appeal because of how appeals court works. The sad truth is that there's...
Good! He should not win a fucking appeal through this in appeals courts. Like... He literally said that he was an unmedicated, diagnosed schizophrenic. That's why they took the guns away, you fucking moron. Idiot. He's just stupid. And Tectone has been consistently lying about what he used Pinkchyu for. The fact that he fucking used her as basically a fucking auto-blow machine. The fact that he used Pinkchyu as an attack dog against Fream. Lies. He's just a fucking liar. He's lying on purpose because he just agrees with women being abused.
Very little recourse for victims of false allegations. And if Pinkchyu were found to be lying, which
I'm sure
she was, there's basically nothing that you can do outside of suing for defamation, which is incredibly expensive, hard to prove, and Tectone likely would not win a defamation case because the order of protection was granted. Well, if he's even allowed to file a lawsuit like that at this point. On top of that, this horrendous court decision will give protection to people such as Hasan Piker, Denims, Mike from PA, and Mizkif when they call Tectone and...
This is in-fucking credible. Again, jingle the fucking keys. I always have to bring up Hasan.
Abuser, and when they repeatedly lie about the facts of the case.
There was also, and this is...
You are aware that fucking Hasan and Mizkif don't agree with one another. He thinks what Mizkif... Like, he cut ties with Mizkif after the stuff with Crazy Slick. You idiot. Do you know any of this stuff? No, you don't know any of this stuff because, again, for you, it's all about Hasan bad, Hasan bad, Hasan bad, Hasan bad, which makes your fucking analysis inherently fucking dog shit.
confirmed. He had recordings of some of the sexual assaults and his victim in sexually compromising positions, and was ordered to delete all of them, or else he was going to prison that day. The judge said, if you don't delete them right now, I'm going to put you in prison myself.
This is yet another lie. This did not happen. All the judge said was to not share explicit content of Pinkchyu that was privately filmed. As for Tectone, on his return to live streaming after a long break, he stated that he wants to respect the court's decision.
Oh, after a long break, huh? I wonder why you're saying after a long break, quote-unquote, and never mentioning the fact that he was multiple times violating a restraining order against him. I'm sensing a lot of nothing but fucking sweeping here, again and again, by think before you sleep.
Decision and move on.
I lost the civil case. I did, but I do genuinely want to respect the court's decision. I believe, even though I lost the case, I do believe that this still gets me to where I want to go, which is for all parties to simply move on. That's pretty much all I want, is for everybody to go their separate
Huffing that fucking copium there, buddy.
ways, to be able to move on and find solace and peace in their life. Genuinely.
That's a very kind way to put it. I'd be a lot more mad. I mean, I was furious at the court's decision after doing the research, and this isn't...
Oh, I'm sure.
But in times like this, I think we can look back on the words of wisdom from Keemstar about it being a stupid idea to date a chick who does OnlyFans. Anyway, thanks for watching. Follow me on...
Alright, well, as expected from this fucking mentally ill retard, known as Think Before You Sleep, he consistently lied about the fucking schizophrenia diagnosis, the fact that Tectone himself in court, in testimony in court, said that he was an unmedicated diagnosed fucking schizophrenic. The only time that he did mention it is completely out of fucking context. Very, very fucking cool. The fact that Tectone decided to become he was a self-admitted fucking grifter. The reasonings for as to why perhaps Pinkchyu might be potentially afraid of Tectone because he has been doing constant white nationalist fucking grifting, which you're okay with because you yourself are also a white nationalist fucking grifter. And the fact that he said that he has supported ICE in the past before. So, again, lies. More than likely that Tectone may have potentially leaked his fucking non-public filing of the fucking protective order against his victim literally about 2 days after it fucking happened. So, again, Pinkchyu potentially being afraid of his stalking behavior because of that. And, again, using legal mindset in order to fucking talk about that, which is, again, also a potential violation of the fucking protective order, and also the fact that he multiple times, Shamoo video withstanding, has been a consistent, manipulative liar against all of the people who had problems and allegations against them. And even in the Static Tokyo video, back during his fucking gacha days, has used his audience as a weapon because he had a significantly bigger audience with all the people that he decided to get into a spat with. He was able to rewrite the narrative, rewrite history, even though the fact that he even self-admitted that he took L's in those fucking debates that he had with some of the ADHD gacha fucking streamers in the past. Shamoo video, again, withstanding. He unironically decided to just lie consistently about the allegations against him, lie consistently about using his fucking audience as a weapon, because he has done that before. Again, multiple fucking videos about this. I'm going to stick all of them in the descriptions down below with appropriate fucking timestamps, just so all of you fucking morons can, I don't know, have your fun, wanting to, like, I don't know, go in the fucking comments section and replies, being like, obviously, like, Tectone literally did nothing wrong. And, as fucking expected, from dumbasses like Think Before You Sleep, they are liars, and he's only doing this just because he hates women. There is, like, no other way to fucking put this besides that motherfucker, this stupid wannabe philosopher king, who only became a wannabe philosopher king because he's basically the personification of a 14-year-old who just discovered Reddit and thinks that all the stuff that he sees on there is incredibly fucking deep. He just wants to have an enforcement of his own fucking worldview and just wants to defend, a fucking goddamn rapist, because he himself is more than likely a wannabe fucking rapist. Don't think there's really much else to say besides, think before you sleep, you're a fucking dumbass.